feel like I'm in the principal's office.
Were you there a lot?
I was there a lot as a kid, yeah.
Really? Why?
I was just too much energy. I was always fucking around, and like my friends were always egging me on, and it was that. It was a lot.
Was it bad, or was it you were just misunderstood? Because there's a difference. I never went to the principal's office. I feel like I always had a witty way of getting out of it.
Yeah.
But I was just misunderstood. I questioned a lot. I spoke and talked a lot like I'm doing right now. But I never did anything like malice, anything bad, you know?
See, I was bad, but now I feel misunderstood. Now I've reached the part where I'm like, I'm just misunderstood.
That's how you justify it?
Yeah.
Like, what was the worst thing you did in school?
I did a lot of bad stuff. That's not going to completely put me out there.
Doesn't matter.
No.
You
know what? No, you know what? This one was funny because I found the teachers, the entire test that we were supposed to take. I found all the answers. So I took it, made copies for everyone, didn't even try charging. I'm like, here you go, because I hated the teacher. So I'm like, here you go, everyone get your piece. But then how I got caught up was I did it really quick, and then I saw how sloppy it was. I was like, let me just rewrite my test. So I took another thing, I started redoing it, like neatly, and she looks, she's like, oh my God, you're cheating. I'm like, no, I'm just rewriting my shit. And she's like, no, that's it. And like, she brought my mom down. I like stuck to my lie. I'm like, she's lying. She hates me. Like, made my mom come down and everything. And my mom was like, just as bad as me. She's like, you're not fucking telling me that about my daughter. She said she didn't cheat. She didn't cheat.
Moms are the best, but the worst.
So I'm sitting here watching her like bitch out my teacher, and I'm like, yeah, tell her. And then I got away with it. And then everyone passed the test.
You only got away with it because your mom.
Oh yeah, no, she was going at it.
That's so funny. That's great. And this was in Chicagoland area, right?
No. This was when we moved, because like we lived in Chicago growing up till like 12.
Okay.
And then we moved to Elmwood Park.
Okay.
So that was in high school. That was Elmwood Park.
Okay. Where in Chicago did you grow up?
West Humboldt Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a different time back then, the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Very different.
Like, because my parents still own that building.
Mm-hmm.
But before, I remember it was just like complete chaos. Like my mom was going out there yelling at people to get off our corner, and like they're coming at her like, we're gonna shoot your place up. And like, I'm like, shut the fuck up, Mom. They're gonna come at us. But finally, like after a while, she's like, no, we just gotta get out of here. Because then we started going to high school. She's like, I do not want any of you guys going to Chicago public school. So
that was a really rough neighborhood back then.
For sure.
It's still not it still has a lot of issues, but it's definitely different. It's
different.
like partially gentrified, you know?
Yeah, agreed.
Which I never know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's a tough.
Yeah, same thing with Pilsen. You know, I never really know.
Yeah, we were just there because my mom's birthday was last week.
Mm-hmm.
We went to eat in Pilsen, and yeah, it's just night and day too, because we used to go swim over there. And then now where it's at, so gentrified.
Yeah, it's a hard one. That keeps happening over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And
every little place.
Yeah, that's tricky. And for those listening, we you're Ness Heads.
Yeah, I'm not. Hello.
And from Chicago originally, and now you're based in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And you're back here for a short time, right?
Yeah.
Do some family stuff, promotional stuff. Music.
I have some studio sessions, but
that's cool.
Trying to get it in with some people that I miss.
Yeah.
Just because virtual sessions are just so hard for me.
Yeah, no, there's no way you can't do that.
Some people can do it. I'm just like, nah.
I can't do it.
Nah, me neither.
I'm a very tangible, visceral person. I need to be in person. Even doing these, I've done 2 Zooms.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
not the same feel.
No, I mean they were across the country, and it was kind of necessary. But this is so much better.
For sure.
I even had a big plexiglass that was here for most of the COVID.
Oh, for COVID.
Yeah, and wouldn't touch the guests or anything. But now that things are different, most people I interact with are vaccinated. Oh my God, are you vaccinated?
Was that touch nice?
It's weird when you feel people again.
It is. I'm sorry. I just
I don't care.
Harassed you.
I'm sure worse has happened to you, so I'll be okay. I have to think about that I think about it more and more, and sometimes I wonder if if I spiral when I think about it too hard, like working with women.
Yeah.
Interacting with women. I try not to overthink it.
For sure.
But I also want to be aware of it, especially with other men around me, like set the example,
Yeah, I love that.
But it's challenging when you've never dealt with it your whole life. Like, I'm half Mexican, but I'm a white man,
Yeah.
And so I don't think about any of these things.
For sure.
I mean, I do, but it doesn't actually deep in my core affect me.
For sure. The fact that you're aware of that is like you're light years ahead of people, well, because there's some people that don't even have that sense, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I battle with it every day, and I think about it all the time. I read about it. I'm reading a really good book right now about that in the tech industry, and
Dope.
it's super heavy. It's really, I'm super engaged. I can't put it down, but it makes me feel so sad.
I'm sure in the tech world too.
It's
Light years behind.
it hurts.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's heavy, but I'm trying to be more aware of it and understand it better, and then spread that to anybody I know that might be genuinely ignorant of it. They might not realize what they're saying, but I've been learning it's the small things. It's the little incremental steps of, say you did something and I go, wow, you actually can do that, instead of just saying like, that was awesome.
Good job. Yeah.
'Cause
No, that's true.
That actually is just a blow to you, like, what, because I'm a woman?
What?
That you
Yeah.
now,
No, for sure.
You know?
Like I was actually just having this conversation where I don't see it as much now, but before, when I first started off going into studio sessions, like I'd say something and it's like it would go in the guy's ears out the other, and a guy next to me would say the same exact thing. They'd be like, oh, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
And I would just sit there many times like, well, fuck me.
What does that do to you?
For a while, it just made me kind of just like shut up. And I was just like...
But then you're not being yourself.
I know,
and you're not expressing your good ideas.
Exactly. So then I started surrounding myself more with people that wouldn't make me feel like that.
Ah, okay.
And it limits you a lot because, I mean, it sucks. You could be working with other people, but it's just, that's how it is sometimes. Like, even now, I remember we were in a studio session not too long ago, and we were trying to figure out, like, an adapter for this headphone. Like, we needed a 1/4 inch to make it fit. And we're looking, and the guy's, like, trying to fit it in. I was like, oh, I think you need a 1/4 inch. And he's just still ignoring me, like, playing with it. I'm like, okay. And then some dude comes around. He's like, oh, you need a 1/4 inch for that. He's like, oh, do you got one? And I'm just like, I just fucking told you needed a 1/4 inch.
Oh, my God.
But it's just like, it'll reoccur, and then it'll bring me back. But I feel very fortunate now being able to, like, surround myself with people who are like, Vanessa, what do you got?
Yeah.
You know, or Ness.
Oh, now I know where Ness comes from. I was wondering. You gave it away. You gave away the cards.
My incognito.
You know, a big problem of it is, and I'm not giving a scapegoat for men, but a big problem is we're also taught that.
Yeah.
We're like taught from an early age, like, hold the door for a woman.
Yeah.
They're
incapable.
Up. Yes. And that's the huge problem is like, no, like that's not what we should. First of all, I hold the door for anybody. I don't care if you're man, woman, tall, small, it doesn't matter.
Just respectful.
Yeah, I'm already, it's an energy thing. It's a physics thing. I'm already there.
True.
And I have it open. Like, what's wrong? Like, why waste it? Just let the person, it's just nice
You're
as
a man.
human. It's nice as a human being to just be nice to people.
You're right, for sure.
And it shouldn't matter if you're a man or woman, but to be taught that for a long time, that women aren't as capable.
Yeah, that's true.
In small ways it's taught a lot in religion. You know, I grew up very Christian. It's taught a lot in like weird things from like just family things, dynamics. You have a sister.
True.
You know, the sister she wasn't told to go shovel the snow or mow the grass or clean the gutters. I was. And I would always argue, I was so rough. I'd always argue like the equal rights of that. Like, well, if I have to do that, then I guess I should come into the house to a clean house with cooked food. Like, what are we doing here? And I don't
For
even
real though, but it brings that up to light. You know?
It's like, I don't even want that, but if we're going to play that game,
Yeah.
then let's play the game of what's equality.
For sure.
Otherwise, we should just both be out there shoveling the driveway we both inhabit. We both
That's
live
true.
here, and we both can go in the house and clean the house we both live in.
Yeah.
You know, I was more or less making a point when I would say those things to my parents, but
Yeah.
it's
That's a good point though.
we're taught it all the time. We're
We
taught
are.
it, and you're taught that a woman, when it comes to technical things, for some, like, this isn't true, but you're taught that they don't
They're not good at
get
technical
it as
shit.
much.
Yeah, for sure.
Which isn't true. It's anyone can understand it. It's just based on their life experience. Do they know it or not?
Yeah,
That's it.
It's a type of person.
Yeah. It's the type of person who's into it and just puts the effort to learn it, just like any background of any kind.
For sure.
You know?
But that is detrimental, teaching women that from a young age too, and boys. Like,
Yeah,
nah,
I mean,
you're not capable.
from
of
your
that.
perspective, what were you taught when it comes to sex and the role of it?
Well, I grew up with 2 older brothers, so it was almost kind of that same thing of like, well, they got to go shovel. You guys go shovel. You're the boys, or go help your dad painting or something, you know, like. And then I would stay at the house with my mom and like would clean and shit like that. So it was very much those roles were placed in there, and plus coming from like 2 immigrant parents, like I think that was just the mentality of like, girls are dainty and girls are this, you know, like put them to the side and let the guys do the work. But me and my brothers would like roughhouse the fuck out of each other. Like we were always messing around and stuff. But
How much older are they than you?
They are, one's 5 years older, the other one's 4 years older.
So old enough to like really be rough on you.
Oh yeah.
That's enough.
Like they would put me in a helmet, rib pads, whatever, like their football uniforms,
stuff.
and we'd go play tackle football outside. I'd come out my room and my mom would be like, "What are you guys doing to her?"
But I'm sure that was formative for you.
Yeah.
Like that made you understand the male dynamic and like what
more.
boys do, you know? Like, yeah, I did that same stuff, but it was all boys. The
Yeah.
rough stuff, the playing. As soon as my parents would leave to go on a date, we'd get all the mattresses and cushions around the house, put them in a
We do that
pile,
too.
and create a little football crazy homemade game. And we'd shove pillows in our shirts and shoulders, and I'd have a football night. My goal was to just get past my brother and my cousin. We'd get banged up and hurt. And then, a couple hours later, put it all back. My parents come home, and we're all sweaty, but the house is clean. And they're just like, all right. Like,
Weird.
we were really good at it, but we got away with it every time. But
That's funny.
it just kind of, it taught that, like, really rough dynamic. And I was always a very emotional person. Like, I never really wanted to do those things. I was always told to do it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do, like, creative things and, like, build stuff. And
I'm sure that was frowned upon.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was still am a very emotional person, but it was weird because I always was able to be really good friends with women and always kind of poked at by guys.
Okay.
I'd sit at the lunch table and they would talk about, well, they probably weren't doing this, but they would talk about all the sexual acts they were doing with their girlfriends, and they probably weren't.
They
but
weren't
we were
at all.
15, and I just sat there like, I don't even know what that means. And I'm like writing poems. And like fantasizing about
Roses
like
are red.
I was a little more sophisticated than that, but
Hey, we all got to start somewhere.
I started somewhere, and I just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it. What's your experience been with other women? Because if you grew up with brothers doing that,
It was very hard. I guess it was harder to relate to girls because I did grow up more like tomboy,
Right.
aggressive. Like even now, I feel like people just take my tone or things I say, like because I feel like I'm pretty direct. Of like, geez, Vanessa, you're so aggressive, and it's like I don't know. I just grew up like that with my brothers. Like it was just very get to the point, and like they didn't care about my feelings. Like if I did cry, it was like, shut up, you're being a girl. So
Yeah.
like, I think for the longest time, I held my emotions in, and I was very much like that. I had such a wall. So connecting with girls that were like super emotional and stuff like that, it just like I couldn't because I never had that with my family. But then going into music more, I think, is where I started kind of like drawing out my emotions because I'm a super emotional person. Like I'm a fucking Pisces. But
we'll get into astrology.
but yeah, I just always grew up with that. Shove your emotions down. Like shut up. You're not crying. We're not crying right now. So
Yeah, that's
different.
Was that also because your parents are Mexican? They're born in Mexico?
Yeah.
So do you think that's part of being an immigrant, coupled with the older brothers, coupled with the rough neighborhoods?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, just like everything just all together
Yeah.
forms this monster me.
You're not a monster.
I feel like that
You're
sometimes.
in your lyrics in the last song you sung. They're very heavy.
Yeah.
And I what you just told me now made a lot of sense on what I just heard down there.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I mean, it seems like this is going to be a big generalization, but it seems like with men, we're told not to be emotional. So if you are, you create a lot of different emotional or mental illnesses based on suppressing stuff.
For sure.
And in women, you're told to be that. But what if you like don't want to? What if you want to do something more technical that isn't so emotional based,
Yeah.
but more thing based and accomplishing a task and a goal?
Yeah.
And then you get that like suppressed.
Yep. True.
And that creates a lot of its problems. And also just like not having your voice heard. Like you said, you're in
Yeah.
the studio, you say one thing, they ignore you. A guy says it, they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Or a quarter-inch jack, they wouldn't listen to you. I'm sure there's so many circumstances you face that.
For sure.
And it seems like it would make you feel like you're not, it seems like it can give you like a sense of not belonging or an imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Or like your voice doesn't matter. So
Makes you doubt yourself a little more.
doubt yourself more in your not capability, but your potential.
For sure.
That tunnel just gets smaller and more narrow. Even though it's there, to your perspective, it might get almost just completely
It's blurry
blurry and
sometimes,
just
yeah.
shoved down. Whereas a man's is told to just be wide and just go for it.
Yep.
And be assertive. And since you grew up with your brothers that did that
Mm-hmm.
for you, or at least showed you that and what a male's life can be, like when you do that and women are capable, and they're go-getters, like the type of women that go into that world of just being an entrepreneur or whatever it is. Even you're like that when you're your own musician, you're an entrepreneur of some kind,
Yeah.
And to be strong, you're called like a bitch or something.
Yeah.
You're called like
You're always
a
like
know-it-all.
Aggressive.
Aggressive.
I just got that from my brother the other day. He's like, you're always so negative and aggressive. I'm like, just because I'm direct does not mean I'm negative and aggressive.
We're just taught that tone is that.
Yeah.
When it's not. You're doing what a guy would do. You're just going to the point. You're doing what a lot of guys are told they can do.
Yeah.
And no one thinks anything of it. Like, oh, yep, boss said to do that, so I must do that. But if a woman does it, they're just like, oh, nagging on me again.
Yep.
And it's like that we have to unlearn that.
Yeah.
And undo that because that's not really what's going on.
No,
That's
at all.
That's this like weird facade men have put up that if a woman tells them what to do, it's because they're nagging.
Yep.
And if a man tells them what to do, it's like, that's my boss. That's a dude. I got to listen to him.
It's full circle, and I'm gonna make him listen to this.
Who?
My brother, because I was talking to my mom about it after like me and him got in a little argument, and he told me that I was being negative. I was legit laughing when I was telling him. I'm like, "Is this negative? Am I coming at you sideways?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "So how is this negative?"
Yeah.
So whatever. I'm telling my mom this story, and she's like, oh, "Vanessa, that's just how he is. You got to understand." I'm like, "No, that's not. He can change.
Yes.
He could be different." Like,
Yeah, Mom, if he's like that, then why can't I be like how I am?
yeah,
That's it's always my argument when I'm with people and they want things a certain way.
yeah,
And I go, well, I equally can ask for something because if you want to go to that bar, but I want to go here, then why does mine not matter? Why do we always have to do what you want to do?
Yeah.
And in any situation.
compromise.
Yeah, you got to find a middle ground. And because the scale has been tipped so unfairly towards women, minorities, people with disabilities, people in the LGBTQ community,
Yeah,
we need to understand to like shut up as men, specifically as white men, to like listen more,
Yeah.
pay attention, and like really sit back and breathe and think about the other person's perspective.
for sure.
I do it all the time. I try to do that every day when I go on walks. Like I go on hikes every morning. I did one before you came in.
Oh, love that.
And I think about far ones, like an hour and a half, and I think about
Awesome.
those types of things.
That's why I think people should get more active because
Yeah.
you start thinking more
You
and
think more.
reflecting and like, oh
Reflecting, yeah.
shit, I might have been wrong on that. And like,
Yeah.
you kind of just start, assessing your own stuff and getting a different perspective.
Go in there and like go in to these acts with no filter and no judgment and like really break it down. And you'll start apologizing to people when you come back. You'll start apologizing to yourself.
Yeah,
Sometimes you got to realize you're hurting yourself.
for sure.
And you got to figure out like what you did wrong or right. But I don't know. It's been really interesting to talk to more women on and off this microphone.
Yeah.
And hearing like to my face their experience. Because I always knew that was a problem, but until you actually hear it
Yeah.
and hear the story, these anecdotal experiences, you don't really get it.
Yeah,
It's
for
one thing to
sure.
be like, yeah, sexism's real. And it's another thing when your mom, your sister, your aunt, a friend, a fellow musician
Yeah.
tells you really what's going on. And you have to sit there and think about a partner, a lover, a wife, anybody that really tells you things that are happening.
Yeah.
And you gotta be like, that's someone's daughter, that's someone's sister,
You have to experience that, and it's like, that's shitty.
Yeah, it's so sad. It hurts. It just makes me feel so bad about life and like this planet and like why this happened and why we do this
Yeah.
to each other,
For sure.
I don't get it.
Stems from some old ass
Far.
motherfucker that fucked it up.
It's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Across
Caveman
a lot
days.
of cultures. A lot of cultures, have
Yeah,
been doing
every
it.
culture is like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I feel like that's generalizing, but I feel like I can say almost every culture has that role,
It seems.
that problem.
Yeah, it seems like a huge problem. I mean, a lot of it is from religion and the translations of
Yeah.
religion kind of diminishing the female role or
Yep.
who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, you grew up in a Hispanic family, probably Catholic?
Catholic, but my mom was Christian, so then we kind of
Okay,
started going to more Christian churches.
right. And in
The
a
same
lot,
shit.
yeah, same thing, same guilt trips.
Yep.
And same women submit to your husbands
Yeah.
and like that macho man, like
Oh my God.
it's like let the man be the head of the house and
Yeah.
like the woman submits, and that's such a problem that propagates through a lot of cultures, religion, Mexican culture. It's and I just don't understand why people still are okay with that.
Yeah. I think it's slowly changing, though.
it is.
I mean, it's going to be a slow change, but I'm already seeing it, like, our generation. Like, I'm sure the generation after, they're already, like, hell no, you're not telling me what to do.
Yeah.
But it's slowly getting there for sure.
You definitely seem like that type of person.
Oh, I've gotten to that point
No
where I'm like, I'm
nonsense.
not taking that. Like, I'm sick of having sat through that. Like, it
Yeah.
just,
And you shouldn't.
no, yeah, I'm over it. My meter for tolerance on that shit is like this little.
Good.
Even my dad gets it. He's like, Jesus. I'm like, I'm not letting off on you because you're my dad.
You don't get any special treatment. You get it worse.
Legit.
You have. That's the beautiful thing about family is like no filters.
I know.
I say whatever I need to them.
Me too.
And it feels nice.
It does, because like I used to hold back a lot.
Yeah.
But I think now more in like once I started reaching like 20s, I was like, no, we're family, right? So like if you can't handle it, then I guess we're just not meant to be in each other's lives.
Mhm. You got to love me for who I am.
Yeah, you gotta love me for who I am. But
Have your parents always been supportive of your music career?
I guess I didn't really show interest until like 2018. Like, I mean, I always did it on and off, and it was like a hobby for me. But then once I started working, I was like, this is not my life. That like started pushing me to the studio more. And then I started going like every day, and I became obsessed. So when my mom saw me become obsessed with this, she's like, do it. Like,
So you were 27?
I was 27 when I started taking it seriously.
What were you doing before that?
I was working like a sales job.
So did you go to college for that?
Yeah,
or-
well, I went to DePaul.
Okay.
I went for public relations and advertising, which advertising, trying to be a copywriter, I was like,
Like Mad Men style?
yeah, like it was just, it's very difficult unless
It's
you
insane.
like know people as connects. And it's very true. Networking is a huge part of it.
You don't strike me as a copywriter.
Oh my God.
At all.
I don't know. I mean, you get thrown in, you're like, pick something. And I'm like, I like words.
For those who don't know what a copywriter is, you want to explain? 'Cause-
Yeah, just like I was specifically looking for like just like billboard type, like print. But copywriter is just the text on an advertisement, like paired up with the art.
Yeah.
Write the copy for.
Copywriter, the art director,
Yep.
put together with the creative director that kind of oversees it. And out comes a commercial, out comes a billboard, out comes a slogan, a tagline.
Slogans I was really good at.
Yes, I love slogans.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're witty, easy to
they're
get
great, but it's like, what is that doing to the human psyche? I don't
Yes.
like that part of it. I
Yeah,
love
true,
the
true,
creative
true.
part of it. I hate what it's doing to people.
That's true. I guess I probably would have gotten sick of it if I really went into that.
Manipulating
Yeah.
people who are sitting looking at an electronic box with LED lights,
Yeah.
just telling them to go get
I
wings
need
stop or thigh stop now.
And then they look at their account, there's like 25 cents back.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, advertising. I have a weird place in my brain for that when I hear people like going to like that is, I don't know, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
almost
true.
one of the most like dark places to go to advertising.
damn, I almost went down the dark path.
What do you think?
No, you're right, because when you break it down and what you're actually doing, yeah, it's fucked up because a lot of those people probably can't afford it. A lot of people,
We're never really advertising anything good. It's either
No.
drugs, food, alcohol,
or just like dust collecting shit
or
that you don't
dumb
need.
stuff, or stuff that's so vague. Like it'll be some erectile dysfunction thing, or that new birth control for women. It's like that weird O.
Oh, the O-ring?
What is that? How does that work?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I don't know anything about it, to be honest.
You know what? Can I tell you a sick story?
You can tell whatever you
This is how
want.
messed up me and my friends are. So we had a crazy group of girlfriends and a crazy group of guy friends. One day we went to Lake Geneva and we were all there. My friend got the O-ring and she's like telling us about it. And the guys kept playing pranks on us. She's like, you guys, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it out. And when they're sleeping, I'm going to put it on someone's face.
Oh.
I'm like, you're so sick, but do it. And she did it. And oh my God, he was like dry heaving and stuff. So yeah, it's just a ring. You can take it in and out.
But how does it work? Do you know?
No, not really.
I don't either.
Yeah.
The commercial I saw was so vague. It was one with the comedian Whitney Cummings.
Oh my, she did a.
She did
She was a
commercial.
sponsor for
Yeah,
that?
she was a commercial. She did a commercial, not on her podcast or anything, but like on
Oh,
TV.
that's funny.
I was watching one
She's
of the.
funny.
I love her.
Yeah, me too.
Her podcast is great. I'm assuming it's a large female audience. Her podcast is good for you, but
Oh, I could see that for sure.
I like it a lot because she has a lot of female guests, and I just I'm not ashamed to listen to female podcasts and guests, but I learned so much about women through hearing that because they have nothing to lose. They're very blunt and honest about life,
sure.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's very interesting. I've learned a lot. But yeah, that commercial, I was like, what is this? How does it work? And yeah, then you hear the side effects of these contraceptions. You're like, who would want? Hey, you could heart attack and die, no blurry vision, and
High cholesterol.
loss of fertility, and your
Yeah.
uterus can fall out. And you're just like, oh my god, I don't.
Like, is the risk really that worth it?
It's like something we've been trying forever is to have sex for pleasure without getting pregnant. It's like
Yeah.
the number one things humans have been trying to figure out without like diminishing the quality of it.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Man.
I think the way it should be, or not should be, but they suggested guys getting birth control. I'm like, that makes sense. I'm like, do that.
It is one of the trickiest things.
No,
Because,
it is.
Because, yeah, I mean,
I don't know which way you go.
Yeah, either way you go, someone is dealing with repercussions.
For sure.
It isn't fair that it's always been put on to women.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know. And even, it's so complicated. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I have no answer.
I do. Just be gay.
Be gay. Oh, man. But then, gay men, that's a whole nother world of like issues of STDs and
Crazy.
because like think about it. So men are already okay with and promoted to be
Hypersexual. For sure.
and to be honest, inherently are so biologically. I'm not gonna lie. I think everyone knows that.
Well, I'm friends with a lot of gay guys and
Yeah.
their stories. I'm like,
So when you're already naturally like horny because you're a dude, and that's just the way your body is, and then you're told by society you can be more, and then it's another guy,
Yeah.
it like doubles down. It's like
Yeah.
it's like aggressive squared.
and then you can't get that guy pregnant.
So
like,
it's anything.
it's like you're the same age basically for the rest of your fucking life.
Yeah, and your sex drive goes way further than women because women go through menopause.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you only have so many eggs, whereas a man's sperm count can go down. But if you're healthy and young, and
You're just going.
it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole nother world.
Yeah. It's a fun world. It looks like they're like 60 years old, still partying like they're 20. I'm like, go for it. You got no responsibilities. Live up.
Humans are so complicated,
I know. It's crazy.
but beautiful. You know, I wish that we didn't let the complications get in the way of how amazing
Yeah.
we are and how symbiotic we are with other species and just this planet. We cause a lot of damage, but we also have a lot of good things. And
Yeah. I was walking past I went down the lake yesterday. Haven't done that in the longest time. Have you been down there?
like Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Have you been down there recently?
I think in the winter I went. It's been a while.
I didn't realize the water came up so crazy. Like there's almost not even a path anymore. I'm like,
Maybe it's overflowing right
it's
now.
overflowing like crazy right now. I'm like, I've never.
We got a lot of rain.
Oh, is that what that
A
is?
lot of rain. The last month and a half,
Mm-hmm.
all of June and a lot of July, most rain I feel like we've had in a while.
Oh,
There was
shit.
a week nonstop in late June where it rained every day, all day for a week.
Wow.
It was unbearable.
See, I would have loved that because there's no rain in LA and I miss it
Yeah.
really bad.
I mean,
I listen to rain sounds. I miss it so
it's
bad.
because like, yeah, in 2020, you know, hindsight's 2020. Like you don't have it, so you want it. But when you're around it every day, you're like, oh my God, I want some sunshine. Like
Yeah.
today, it's a little hot today, but it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Like
it
that
is.
sun. Yesterday was beautiful.
Oh my God, yesterday was really pretty. Today's supposed to be 90. I'm like,
I know I'm not going outside.
not doing
I
that.
already went outside this morning. I'm done.
Yeah, as soon as I'm done, I'm taking this off and putting shorts on. Staying inside.
Yeah. Are you a big swimmer? Do you swim a lot in the ocean? in LA?
Not. It's so weird because I grew up swimming from like 2 years old. My mom put us on a swim team at 2. Like had me just like drowning basically.
Yeah.
She's like, get rid of her. But she put us in swimming from like 2, I think, till high school. So I've always been in water, but then all of a sudden I have this crazy fear of oceans now. Happened like 5 years ago.
Interesting.
I cannot go in the water. I tried
Really?
snorkeling and I would like having a panic attack. I'm like,
Do
oh my
you
God,
know-
the shark's gonna come get me.
You don't know why?
No, I think my head's just going crazy. Like I really think a shark's gonna come eat me, and that is so irrational.
It is. I was just listening to a statistic yesterday about shark attacks, and it's like so small.
I know,
Like
I
a
don't know what's
couple,
wrong with me.
like a couple a year in the whole world, and humans kill I think like 11,000 a day. Like the numbers don't even come close.
Oh wow! So they're like terrified of us.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, sharks are interesting. Like when I was 20,
Yeah.
I went on a road trip with 18 friends. It was wild. Went to South Carolina and we were at Myrtle Beach and we were swimming at night, my friend Brian and I. And I saw a bunch of like fish hopping out of the water. And I was like,
That's gotch.
that's cool. This is like a phenomenon.
That's
Like what's
cool.
going on here? Why are there fish hopping everywhere?
Not
I didn't know
scared.
that meant they're trying to get away from sharks.
Oh.
And sharks feed at night in shallow waters. And I'm sitting there and all of a sudden this
Shut up.
Big object goes between my legs.
Oh my God, I'm already having a heart attack.
And
You made my
I
fear
felt
go.
it go between me, and its fins hit my calves. And then it twirled, and it knocked me over. And I started realizing, like, this is a shark, because it felt like it was 6'7".
Did you fall in the water?
Yeah, I fell in the water. And then I got up the step, and I stepped on top of it. And I slipped off it again. And it was probably 6, 7, 8 feet long. It's big.
Fuck.
And I felt it like twirl around me, and I felt it graze against my leg, and I just screamed like shark, and I caught a wave and got back to I was maybe at 4 feet deep, and I got back into the, to the land, to the beach as fast as I could, but my friend Brian was trying to get to it as well, and I think he also got hit by it. Not as much as I did, but I think it also went against him.
That's scary.
And he got back to it, and we were freaking out, like out of breath.
Oh my God.
And then the next day I'm talking to a lifeguard, and he was like, a kid got bit the day before near where we were.
Oh my
And I
God.
told him the story, and he's like, yeah, the fish were trying to get away from the shark. They feed at night. And the shark went against you to feel you, to test what you were, to see if it should take a bite out of you or not.
And it probably felt your bony ankles and was like, this ain't meaty.
Scrawny guy. Well, like, so I was a test subject for this shark's, dinner. It's midnight snack.
That is scary. And you just upped my irrational fear like crazy.
But like, that's the thing. Like, I'm an idiot for doing that. Like, don't swim at night.
Yeah. That's
Especially
true.
when you see fish jumping around.
That's true. Yeah.
know,
You
there's-
go towards them. I would have
Yeah.
been like, oh, hell no. I'm leaving.
I didn't know. I mean, I had no ocean experience. I've barely swam in it,
Yeah,
so
true.
I had no idea what that meant. I know now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ocean, deep water, even
Fun time, by the way?
I'm good. Is that weed?
Just weird.
Oh, I'm good. It's too early for my weed.
Damn.
It's only noon. For me personally.
No, I know.
it's-
I've been trying to cut back. I keep telling myself, like, okay, it's going to be after 2 now. And I'm like 9 in the morning, like listening to music, smoking. I'm like, that's not happening.
I've done a couple of the early ones, but I try to do that like on a Saturday when I'm off. If I'm known to like go to the beach for the day
Yeah.
or something, like then I'll do it. I don't care.
Yeah.
But during the
I'm
week, I
gonna
try to
really
keep it
try.
till late.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but everyone's different. I know people that can smoke on and off all day and they're fine, just as productive.
Yeah, no, I'm super productive when I smoke because I only do like, I'll pack my bowl and it'll be like 2 hits and then I'll get going again. It's like my Adderall basically.
Oh, okay.
And then won't smoke for like an hour, then I'll hit 2 more and get back into it.
Have you used it as like a form of medication that works for you?
I will say it made me so much because I was pretty aggressive before, but weed has helped me chill the fuck out.
Okay.
So in that form, it has definitely medicated me in that of like just not getting so riled up, and then it lets me think more. Just be like, all right, it's not that big of a deal. Chill
It
out.
doesn't get you paranoid. It does the opposite.
It does the opposite of that.
Wow.
When
See,
I
it gets
was
me thinking too hard.
really
Yeah.
see when I was going through a really bad breakup. I almost had to stop because it was giving me the worst anxiety. But when I'm not going through anything like dark, I'm just super chill and productive.
Yeah, I think I think I'm more like you then, because I'm always like high strung from like trying to do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
That it gets me spiraling into that. Like, do I need to respond to the band now, or should I wait till tomorrow? Or like, do I
okay.
need to book that artist now,
you're
or should I
gonna-
wait till tomorrow? Like,
Oh.
is it gonna rain on DZ Fest? Is it not? Like, my class is gonna be
didn't
okay. Do I
even-
need to fill out the syllabi? Like, I just start.
I do that, and I didn't realize that's probably from the weed.
Oh yeah.
Oh
It's definitely from the
no, I
weed.
thought that was just me. I'm like, you're crazy. Chill out.
But when I don't smoke and I like exercise and like talk to a friend, all that gets cleared out and I can like organize it and think
Yeah.
about it. But when I'm trying to juggle a bunch of stuff and then I get really high,
Damn.
it starts to spiral.
Okay, I need to slow down.
So, but when things are in order,
Yeah.
which things are getting in more in order right now, that when I do smoke, I'm not nearly as worried.
Yeah.
Depends on who I'm with too. If I'm with
True.
good friends,
Yeah, it's
it's great. When I'm with, someone I care about, like some of the best circumstances are being with someone that I care about, and we're listening to music
yeah.
and just enjoying each other's company. Then smoking then is like the best thing.
For
I have
sure.
so much fun doing
yeah,
that.
same.
And then those lonely nights when you're just like alone and you have so much shit to figure out and you
Yeah.
smoke, you're just like, oh my god, you start spiraling.
Yeah.
It's
Oh my God.
tricky.
It is.
But I suggest people try it to figure out their spectrum, their gauge of what works and what doesn't.
For sure. Because it doesn't work for everyone. For
No,
Sure.
it's like any drug. Like they're not all like alcohol does not work for everyone.
No.
I look at some people, I'm like, please don't drink anymore.
That's
you
me.
are-
I stopped.
You don't drink anymore?
I mean, I'll do it once in a while, but like going out and just drinking isn't as fun for me anymore. Like the feeling of anxiety I get the next day of like, fuck, what did I do? Because like I do let it get out of control a little bit. Just because when people start offering shots,
You just
I
go
cannot
hard.
say no. I'm like, yeah. And then 2 seconds later, shot, yes.
Well, the more you do, the more you want to say yes to the
Yes.
next one.
So it
Right?
gets fun.
The first one, you're like, second one, you're like, third one's like, fourth one, you're like,
And then another one. So like before I know it, I'm 7 shots in, and
oh
it's
my
like,
God.
yeah. So for that reason too, it's just like I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So
I feel you. I drink with thought and care now. I'm very deliberate
Good.
with drugs.
yeah,
You know, same thing with like anything heavy, like mushrooms. I'm like very intentional.
same.
Can't wing that.
No, you don't know what kind of
There's
experience
people
you're
who
gonna
have.
get.
People just like, oh, it's like some mushrooms. It's like, what?
In the middle of
Do you
the
not
day
have
too.
anything to do?
I'm like, don't you got a fucking dinner you gotta go to?
Anything at all you
Yeah.
have to do? Like, you just, it's Monday.
I know, no.
But like, you know, Saturday at noon, it's sunny out. You have nothing to do Sunday. You're
Yeah.
with friends. It's like, let's take some mushrooms.
For sure.
And there's a time and place for all drugs. And not all drugs. Some drugs I don't think anybody should do. But,
True.
you know, like I've never done cocaine or anything. That's,
I've done that, but it's not my.
No.
I don't enjoy it that much. It's cool.
yeah.
I don't
I've
know.
heard,
I'd rather take an Adderall. It does the same exact shit, basically.
yeah, do you like taking Adderall
I used to a lot more when I was in college.
to get through classes or
Yeah, get through classes, finals.
did you find it, do you think you needed it? Like it worked for you? Like it was
Oh.
actually worked with your chemistry?
It worked really, really well. But I don't know. It would get me all jittery.
Yeah.
But in terms of like focusing and getting work done, I felt like, remember that pill Level or whatever? There was that movie where like you take the green or the blue.
Limitless?
Limitless. Yeah, I felt like
Limitless.
that. I was like,
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, I was Bradley Cooper.
That, but like, is that a good thing?
No, because I didn't want to become dependent on it.
Exactly.
So that's why it scared me because I was like, I don't want to, like, almost, I feel like that with weed now that I've gotten so, like, weed to write and all that. I'm like, I need my weed. And it's like, I don't need it. You know, it's just in my head. And that's what I was getting to with Adderall. So I was like, let me just scale back. I can do it.
Was it prescribed or you just took it on your own?
Just took it.
Yeah.
I have, like, my brother has prescribed that. Actually, no, FBI. I mean, no, I got a lot of friends too, so it's always there, but I just don't feel the need for it anymore. I told you, weed is my Adderall now.
Yeah, like Adderall, stimulants have been a really big thing and a big problem amongst a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I've been accused of taking Adderall a lot because I'm like,
Wired.
I'm a little much, I've learned. Like, you don't know what you are until enough people just keep saying it.
I
And then you're like,
know.
okay, it must be that.
Yeah.
Like, why do I keep hearing it for like the last
Yes.
decade that, like, dude, relax. Clearly, something's going on.
For sure.
No, I don't need it. I really don't.
It'd
Like,
probably get you on another level.
I took a half of Adderall one time in my life.
Oh, shit.
And it was at like 6 p.m.
Oh, so it kept you up.
Well, so it was in New Orleans
Okay.
for a bachelor party. And I've never taken it ever. I've never taken any pills, really. I'd taken Vicodin once when I broke my wrist and fingers, and I had a bad tailbone, a bunch of stuff.
Oh, shit.
Other than that, I've never taken anything. And someone had it, and we were up since 4 because we flew there,
Okay.
and we were up all day.
Yeah, you need it.
I was just so tired, and I took it, and I didn't feel anything. I just didn't get tired. It
Yeah.
was weird. I thought I was going to get like focused and like really on it. I just felt the same, but I was able to stay up until 1
Okay.
instead of going to bed at 9 because I was
Yeah.
so exhausted. That's all it really did for me personally. And I was like, you know what? That's probably not a good thing. I probably should have went to bed at 9, so I'm never going to do that again.
Well, that's how people fuck with their entire, like, they get depressed and stuff because they just start throwing off their cycles. But I feel like when you're in that setting of just partying, you're not going to feel like the focus.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I just thought it was like, I flew here. I've been walking, 30,000 steps today around New Orleans,
I'd
all of
be
it, drinking all
exhausted.
day. It's probably not good that my brain and body are still able to keep going.
Yeah, you're right.
So I should
That's
never
true.
do that again.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when I've seen people do like cocaine and they like wake up again, keep going for like
I
another
know.
8 hours. I'm just like, that cannot be good
No,
for
at
your
all.
body.
Yeah, I have a friend that she'll like stay up till like 7 in the morning and then she'll text in the group chat at like 12 and be like, anyone want to go drink? And I'm like, how are you doing this every single day?
God.
But it's the coke.
Yeah, I've never went down that path. Coke, meth, stimulants, nothing like that, no. And honestly, nothing. Just weed, alcohol,
Yeah,
mushrooms, that's it.
weed's my main one.
Yeah, I'd rather go to weed. I do it a lot less now,
Yeah.
a couple times a week, but alcohol. I really enjoy wine. Like there's a wine bottle over there. I enjoy wine like on a weekend or like
nice.
celebrating with people,
Yeah.
relaxing with it, not just because as soon as you go to the shots world, you're like you clearly want to get drunk.
You want to get fucked up.
because you're taking pure alcohol
and it sucks.
instantaneously. You're not doing it for the flavor. Like wine is for flavor.
Yeah.
You pair it with food. You're relaxing. It's
Yeah.
truly soothing. You know, a bath, whatever.
For sure.
You know, and shots of vodka.
You can't just sit on the couch and be like, shots. Actually, I dated someone that would seriously sit there on the couch and take shots.
Are you
I'd
serious?
be like, babe, we got work in the morning. And she'd be like, just take shots of bullet.
Babe, that's not good. Are you're a babe caller?
When I like date you for a long time, like she was my girlfriend for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but if I don't know you, I won't be calling you babe for a minute. You
I
gotta earn that. You gotta earn that right.
I never know, like, yeah, that the babe, the boo, the darling, like those.
I gotta really like you to do that.
Yeah. I never know how to get to that place of, like, because I don't know, like, it just feels. I guess if it comes out naturally,
Okay.
but I don't know. Sometimes it feels forced. It's I don't know.
I feel that.
I think it's a person to person
Also,
thing.
girls, I feel like are more comfortable saying it too.
You think so?
Like, babe, baby. I don't know. It's like one of those things when we're growing up, like, I don't know. I feel like we hear those words more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. More accepted.
Yeah.
A guy saying baby, it's like, oh my God, he's creepy, corny.
Yeah. I think it's when people say like daddy.
Oh my God.
You know, it's just like don't no.
I hate that, for real.
I do too. Like, why would you call me? I'm not like that's the furthest thing from like sexy I ever want to hear.
I know.
Your dad, he's the reason why you exist. I don't want to be close to that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's so weird. I don't know. That's
I
a weird
feel that.
one.
It is weird.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I don't either. I was about to tell you a really bad story.
Tell it.
No.
I don't have sponsors. Say whatever you want. I can't.
just remember one time this is just a random hookup. We went back and she said it in bed. She goes, yeah, daddy. I looked at her. I go, ew, don't say that. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, that just ruined that. No, we're not doing that. We are not calling me daddy.
We're two women, and you just called me
you
a
just
daddy.
call you
And I
daddy.
don't even know you.
I don't even know you. That was the last time I saw her. I said, hell no.
It's so
Made me feel so weird.
That's so funny. Like something that could really completely ruin the beginning of something or a relationship, if anything, can sometimes just be something during
that
sex.
little.
Anything but it's like during that act.
Yep.
Because that's the most vulnerable you'll ever be.
You're right. Yeah.
So because you're like literally just free there, if anything that doesn't feel right happens, you're just like, no, I'm done.
Never talking to them again.
Yeah, that's a interesting one. And it's, I don't know, what do you think? Do you think it's more women that are more strict with that? I feel like guys are like, I don't care. I'm here.
You're right. But I've actually, lately, the guys I've been surrounded with, they care a lot. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, just write off girls for little things. I'm like, that really bugged you that bad? So I don't know. I thought guys didn't care, but apparently they write off anyone.
Huh.
Well, from the ones that I've been surrounded
Yeah, I don't
with.
write off really anything. I'm very open. I understand people.
You seem like a good guy, though.
I don't really write off people. It takes a lot for me. Like, I don't think I can hang out with this person anymore. Like, platonic or not, you know, it just... Because I understand there's nuance in people, and people get nervous. They make mistakes. I've been
That's true.
so nervous, you know, like the very few first dates
Yeah.
with the person that I'm seeing now was terrifying,
Yeah.
you know, and you're just like, I felt like everything I was going to say was just bad or
Damn.
stupid. I was so scared,
Uh-huh.
you know, couldn't even eat, shaking, heart, you know. It's true, though. I mean, like, so who am I to judge somebody else?
That's true.
Like,
I should start looking at life through that lens.
things are complicated.
You're right.
You know, it's
You're
like,
empathetic towards that.
yeah, you have to be. I mean, you say something dumb because you're trying to impress, you're trying to be yourself, you're trying to feel natural, and something might come out, and then the
Yeah.
person just writes you off for it. It's like, well, I mean, what do you want? Like, I'm
That's
trying.
true.
Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
right.
it's just an accident. I don't know. I don't mean anything by it, and
Yeah.
you got to be a little bit more lenient. It's when there's repetition in that, and then you got to be like, all
True.
right, that's not good. This person keeps.
Doing that weird shit.
Yeah, every time I see them, they fart. I don't know. Anything like that. You're just like, all right. Or you can just talk about it. That's
Yeah.
been very helpful, too. When something isn't feeling right, just like talk about it.
Yeah.
Just rip off that band and be like, all right, I like you a lot. We got to figure this out like
True.
now.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're not getting to the next step.
Yeah, and same thing with like friends or roommates. You know, you're gonna be like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
That's true.
Put the toilet seat down.
No, I know. Me and Drew, who's my producer, we moved together to LA, and we had a lot of those conversations of like, we just had to right in the
have to,
moment.
yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, it just would have been a
It
weird
builds
situation.
up.
For
You
sure.
build resentment. I don't want resentment, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of hard conversations to have when you get older. I'm 31. I mean, we're a year apart, so you can relate to like you learned a lot in the last
Few
15 years of like really being out in the world through high school, college, and career.
lot.
You know, you learn a lot, and you learn. I need to be clear with my intentions. I need to explain myself better. I need to really listen to other people.
Yes, that's
Like,
the biggest one.
listen to them.
Listening, like just that's been a hard one for me.
It's hard for most
But
people.
you just got to train yourself, like actively, like, all right, shut up. There's even times in my head where I'm like, Vanessa, shut up, let them finish. Listen. And you just kind of coach yourself through it. But a lot of people don't do that.
It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah, it does.
It's I think it's a byproduct of the society we live in now. It's very fast paced.
Yeah, true.
Very stimulating, and it feeds the ego. And the ego overrides empathy and sympathy and patience and understanding. You know, you want to be the brightest star in the room.
You're waiting for the next thing to say and you're not listening.
Yeah, and it comes with like, I want to be right. I want to correct.
Yeah.
No one likes someone who's boasting or trying to flash their, life resume in front of people. It's like, no, that doesn't.
Chill out.
Yeah, it was the worst. It would always happen. Not anymore because I'm so far removed from that. But when you're like younger, people would be like,
The worst.
well, like, what was your ACT score?
Oh my God.
Or something like that. And you're just like, what?
Shut the fuck up.
What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
I hated that stuff.
That was stupid.
That whenever someone says something like that, like ACT score or I graduated magna cum laude or something
There's
like that.
some deep shit in there.
Yeah, they're trying to like project something that they feel like they're falling short in to override people,
Yeah. I just got some crazy deja vu.
What is it?
This right here, I don't know.
Oh, you've
something
you've done
about this.
before?
Yeah, we've done this.
Have you done a
before.
podcast before?
Yeah, I've done a podcast before.
Nice.
But this one, I've never done one like this. This just
What do you mean
put me
like
back.
this?
Like in a room setting.
Okay.
Like actual legit.
Yeah, like deliberate
Yeah,
headphones. Yeah.
Yeah, this is legit.
I'm trying. This room.
By the way, this fits perfect.
Right? I was like, what kind of artwork should I put up? And I just go to my bathroom and there's
Wow.
this really cool bass player that I've always liked. It's a cool frame too. It's like strange purple.
Fits perfect.
But it
in
matches
that
the paint.
Opening.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like it too. Yeah, I like art and expression of all forms. And the more I've been open to that, I've been seeing it in places I normally wouldn't see it.
Okay.
Like really in food the last couple of years where I truly understand like why it's culinary arts and how it's an art form. Really in fashion.
Fashion for sure.
Even the way you present your body, such as tattoos, hair color, makeup, style,
True.
more makeup, less makeup,
Yeah.
a beard, no beard, like the grooming of everything.
Yeah.
And then a lot in the little things like in technology. I always thought technology was so scientific based
Yeah.
and zeros and ones, ups and downs, math, and like really nothing else. And I realized those are small entities that are put together and directed together by someone with a creative perspective that uses science to accomplish a goal.
Yeah.
And
Never
that's
thought about it like that.
that's what like a good engineer is in all realms: electrical, mechanical, biochemical. An engineer in computing, like a computer science major or a computer scientist. It's a creative mind that's coupled with an ability to organize a set numbers to accomplish something better or something creative out of it.
Yeah.
And it's not looked at the same because it's in STEMs, it's in, science, engineering, mathematics, and technology, but it still is. It's just in a different way.
Yeah.
Creativity is very broad. It's a massive spectrum from one end where
true.
science meets someone who's just Jackson Pollock, who just throws paint on a canvas. Like,
Fucking crazy.
it just goes far, And same thing with music. I've been seeing a lot more in music. I was so narrow-minded with music before. It was like, if it's not something with rock, then I'm like, it's not that I didn't like it. I just wasn't intrigued by it.
For sure.
And I've been completely, like, I threw that out.
Yeah.
And in the last 6-7 months, I've just listened to pretty much, instead of, it used to be like 90% rock-ish type of music, experimental, indie, alternative, classic, jazz. and like 10% like R&B, hip hop. It just wasn't as much. I just didn't know anything about that music. I didn't know the style, genre, the people in that world, and it's completely flipped. Now it's like 90 and 10.
That's crazy.
And I learned so much.
That's dope.
I learned so much. I see music in a different way.
Yeah.
Like the colorful spectrum of the emotions that music can give me has just like poured out.
Yeah.
I feel so emotional now that I listen to like everything I can. I say no to nothing. I just say yes to all music.
That's
now.
dope.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of had that same experience. Like for me, it was
Really?
very much hip hop. Like if it didn't fall in that, like I'm not listening to that. And then I think just later on, I started listening to more alternative and like just bands, and then that opened it up a little bit. And then going into music full time, I just started studying everything possible, like from old ass shit to like country music to just stuff that I wouldn't normally listen to, and that's opened me up too. So I think music really is the language.
Yeah.
In so many ways. Like
It is. It's a universal
emotionally-
language.
Yeah, and emotionally, like it really just gets you.
Yeah.
You know?
So much.
I don't know. It's weird.
Well,
Has a whole bunch of different languages, I guess you could say, with music.
it's like I was just
Or
talking about
levels.
this on the last podcast because it was a classically trained musician in violin, and it's something I've always thought about. But it is a universal language because it uses all the fundamental building blocks of what creates a language, and that is tone, pitch, melody, rhythm,
Yeah.
and the continuity of like how they go across from point A to point B to create that sound. And that's what music does.
Yeah.
It has its patterns. It has a rhythm, a BPM, a time signature, a key signature, the tone. It has dynamics and fluctuation. And we have that in
Yeah,
how we
true.
speak.
Yeah.
You know, if I said like, Vanessa, your music, it's just okay. Versus like, Vanessa, your music's okay. Like versus like, oh my God, your music's not just okay. It's amazing. Like there's so many different ways to say the same thing.
Yeah.
And depending on how I say it, the dynamics of the timbre of my voice, the way in which I say things, the inflection, changes everything. And you get that with music.
Yeah.
But because there's no actual language going on there, you don't have that barrier of like, oh, that's Mandarin or that's Arabic or that's
Yeah.
English or that's French. That's just sound.
Yep.
That sound that's put together in a configuration that makes sense to us. And it
Yeah.
makes sense to us because we only know and think and live through language. And music is a language of its own.
Yeah.
And you can even study it. It has its own theory of how it's put together,
Yep.
music theory. So it's an art form, but I feel that's why humans connect to it so much.
For sure.
Because of that part of it being like this visceral reptilian part of our body
Yeah.
of connecting through using sound and pressure.
To trigger an emotion.
It triggers so many emotions.
Yep.
It's ridiculous how far back it goes. And I think it does that because it can go back to the deep parts of the brain because we use language to think and express. Like when you're going to react right now to the next thing you say, you're thinking in English.
Yeah.
And you're going to execute it. And if you were doing it in Spanish, there'd be a different way to say it because they don't translate identically. They're not perfectly
No.
parallel. Languages aren't.
Yeah. The
And-
emphasis you're putting on things, like how you're delivering it,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. I mean,
Language.
we never actually, we went back to, you said you were went to DePaul and you were doing sales.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out how you got into where you are now.
Oh, so I did sales because I was like, this is just going to be the easiest. There's millions of sales jobs.
Yeah.
My mom's asking me what the fuck I'm going to do. I'm just going to pick up a sales job.
Yeah.
And then I did, and I did that for a minute, but it just got to the point where I was like, just lying constantly because I hated my job.
Lying.
Lying to get off of work.
Oh.
Like, we had a studio in the same area that I was supposed to be taking appointments. It's actually right down the street from my house. So since it was outside sales, my boss wasn't really keeping track. I mean, he would call me, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm working right now. I'm at a bank because we were, like, stationed at different banks.
You were going to banks?
Yeah,
I can't.
I was partnered with Chase
Can't
Banks.
picture this at all.
So crazy.
Like,
Well, I mean, I was.
you have things on your teeth?
I
What
didn't
is
have
that?
things in my teeth. These are just like gems.
You have gems on your teeth. You have tattoos everywhere. You wearing Docs,
Wearing dogs.
baggy pants,
Yep.
an awesome shirt. Your hair is wild. And you're walking on a Chase.
Chase.
Yeah, I can't picture
No, I did not belong at all. And like, it became to the point where it was more like they just, we liked each other. So like my relationships with the bankers and stuff was like totally not professional. And they're like, Vanessa, what up? You know, and like,
Yeah.
I'd look at how they treat my other coworkers and it'd be like, so do you have any meetings for me? And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'd come and be like, what up, everyone?
Not belonging.
No, not at all. Like the meetings I'd hold, my boss would be like, what are you saying? I remember one time I was holding a meeting with a lawyer, and I meant to ask her, like, so how do you know what law, like current laws and stuff? And I think I said, like, so how do you know what laws are popping? And she's like, and it came out of my mouth, and I was like, my boss is right next to me. I'm like, did I just say popping? And they both look at me. They're like, yep, you did. I'm like, all right, well, that's where we're at. How do you know what laws are popping? So, like, it was very much, like, just fucking around, joking.
Did you ever feel like you didn't belong?
All the time. Like, I'd go in the office, and it would just drain me. I'm like, I don't fit in here. Like, what am I doing? Wasting away. So then that's when I got my interest in just making music. I met up with some guys at work, actually, that did music. They were going to the studio. So they started inviting me, and, like, I started going. It started off with Tuesdays and Thursdays. Then it just, like, I don't know, once I got more unhappy, I started just going more.
How old were you when you started doing that?
26 or 27.
Wow. That's later than most people would.
Yeah.
That's pretty inspiring, honestly.
I mean, I just put my head down after that. I was like, if I'm going to do this, like, I'm going to give it my all. Like, 10,000 hours, I'm not taking that lightly. Like, I'm doing it, you know?
Yeah.
So then when I really got obsessed with it, my boss would call me and be like, hey, what's up? What meetings you got on the schedule today? And then I'd be in the studio, and Andrew would be playing the beat back, and he'd be like, zoom, zoom, zoom. And I'm like in the other room.
I'm
like,
at the bank. There's some music playing.
Yeah, he's like, what's going on back there? I'm like, I don't know. Someone's angry. I'll call you back. Someone's angry. But, like, I was constantly lying.
Yeah.
So then.
Do you think you were lying to yourself, or you think that's the only thing you weren't lying about?
In a way, I'm trying to think about. I guess it wasn't really lying to myself, because in the back of my head, I was like, this is what I want to do.
Right.
You know?
So you were being honest with yourself and lying to the world.
Yeah. Because also growing up, you hear so what do you want to be? Because I remember I pulled up this little thing. It was like a little art thing we had to do in class, and I think it was 3rd or 4th grade. And they asked you what to put at the top, like, what do you want to be? And I remember, or I looked at the thing and said singer. And, like, that was in 3rd fucking grade, but, like, I always got hit with no, really, like, think of something serious. What do you really want to be?
Yeah.
You know, and, like, that's not real. So, like, I got that in my head so much that I was just like, they're right. Like, it's not real. I'm just gonna hide that. Like, I want to be a salesperson. No, I didn't say salesperson.
I want to be a salesperson for a bank.
At like 3 years old, I want to be a salesperson.
Do you think women are told that that's not as obtainable as men are when it comes to writing down their dreams when they're kids?
Never thought about that, but yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure too.
Yeah.
I never thought about it until right now.
Yeah, I'm sure. But that really hit me. Like, I was like, they're right. This isn't serious. But then me and Drew started working together, and he would read a lot of books, and he's like, Vanessa, we can do this. Just like, we just got to really work really hard at it.
Yeah.
And then from where I started to where, like, I'm even at now, in a short period, I was like, if I can make that much progress in something that I love, instead of staying somewhere where I'm like, I'm not making any progress, I'm failing at this fucking job, like, what am I going to do, you know? Obviously, I'm going to pick what I'm getting better at a faster rate than something I hate.
That's a great point.
You know?
You're doing something you hate, but you were still excelling at it, imagine when you can do if you're actually putting your effort into something you love.
Yeah.
Like, truly love it. And not just that, but people reinforcing that and building you up. You know, there was a line I read in that book today, and it said, like, the author is a woman, and it's called Brotopia, Breaking Down the Silicon Valley Boys Club. I believe that's the title.
Okay.
It's really good, really heavy.
Sounds interesting.
But it said, like, you know, a lot of these people, or a lot of men are told in the successful industries that, like, because they're so psychopathic and harsh and evil, that their company was successful. And then it's like, but maybe their company would be more successful if they just weren't like that.
Yeah.
And they were actually just nice people.
Very good point.
Like, who's to say it's only successful because you're an asshole?
Why are we perpetuating that? Like,
Yeah. Maybe if you're just hardworking and kind, it actually can be better.
Yeah,
and I believe that way more than, like, oh, success is by people who are, like, brutal and cutthroat. It's like, no.
Yeah. Because I've been seeing a lot of those, like, you got to just be cutthroat in this. And I'm like, but why?
Yeah. Well, I feel like in industries where women are trying to be more successful, they're told that because you're trying to compete with men
Yeah,
who
that's true.
inherently are told and believe they should do that.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, but I think that's why women are
it's-
kind of told it, whereas I don't feel the need to do that. And I just feel the need if you're extremely passionate, driven, honest, sensitive, and just kind to people, people will take notice to
Yeah.
your abilities, your efforts, and your accomplishments. And like that'll
sure.
just, that those actions speak way louder than words.
I agree with
you
that.
know? But that's also easy for me to say. I'm a white man.
No, but I mean, even the work that you put out when you are giving all that out, kindness, like bringing intention behind your work, like you just feel better about it.
Yeah.
You know?
You feel better and people see it.
Exactly.
You know, you have nothing to hide. I sleep fine at night because of
Exactly.
my life and intentions. And
Yeah.
it's really inspiring that you were in a path that wasn't working for you. And you chose something that you've wrote in third grade. You know, 9 years old,
Yeah.
want to be a singer, and now you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you've been doing it for, well, you probably started doing it, 25, 26?
26.
And then started going really hard in the last 3 years, 27.
Yeah.
That 26 to 27, what
Mm-hmm.
happened in that year that made you just go fully into it? And is that when you quit the job?
I quit in 2018.
So
that was
27?
27 going into 28, I think.
Yeah.
I was living with my current girlfriend. And we were super just unhappy. Like, I was just checked out. She was checked out. We were both miserable. So that added to it. I hated my job. Combination of those two. I would say those were the two biggest things. And then also I started surrounding myself with people that are like, this is really good. And like just started kind of like building up that confidence and like, you're right, I'm onto something, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that combined just led me into like, all right, I'm doing this.
And what made you want to pick, like, you were always attracted to hip hop and that style?
Yeah, I was always, I mean, I would always, even from like, I think I have some of my old freestyles, but like I would write raps and like in middle school or grammar school, we'd sit there and like recite it to each other.
Yeah.
But so the interest was always there, even from younger than that, you know, like instruments I'd pick up and stuff. Music was always there, but I just never focused. What was your question?
Oh, I don't know. So you're 26 and you quit. You were unhappy with. You said you were checked out with your relationship. Did that suffer because? Do you think that suffered because of your work and not being happy with it, and you wanted to do something else?
I mean, we started dating at a really young age. We dated for
Okay.
like 8 years. So
Oh,
like,
wow.
We started when I was 19.
Wow.
So like it was just toxic, you know? And then it just like built up to this, like we couldn't even talk to each other. It was walls built up. So like I was using music to spill my emotions out. Like that's when I started getting more in touch with my emotions and healing, I guess, you know? Because I was suppressing so much for so long. So like it was just kind of like undoing that stuff, and music was helping me undo that. So
What kind of things were you suppressing?
just like not understand my own emotions. I think I was so long like don't show emotion, like you can't cry, you can't this, and like
Why?
growing up with my two brothers
Yeah.
and whenever like just that instilled in your head your entire life, even with your parents, like almost kind of saying that too, like no, don't cry, you're like stop being a little girl, you know, and like it was a very tough environment. So
Is that you think from immigrant parents? Like, be tough to get
Yeah.
through. You already are behind in this society.
exactly, and
So you
also
have to have a leg up by being tough.
by being tough, and also like there's bigger problems, so why are you focusing on that right now? Like
Yeah.
people have it worse than you know, like they always would harp on like we were over there, it was way worse than this, you have nothing to be sad about, like get the fuck together. So like being sad wasn't, even still, like my parents don't believe in like mental illnesses, so like it's still very much like we don't talk about emotions. So music allowing that, and like I think how you said that my relationships suffer on that. I think because I was really confiding in music, it got to a point where she started resenting it, and it was like, I don't want to talk about your music. Don't even bring it up. So like then that started pushing us even more away, and I was like, we're already unhappy. We hate each other. I'm just gonna go with what's actually like fulfilling me right now.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey.
That's heavy.
It's been a journey for sure. I was fucked up for a minute. I mean, that's why you hear all this sad shit.
Yeah, I mean, in that 1 year, you left your job and that relationship.
I moved back home for a little bit and just was at the studio every single day because I was like, I'm going to cut my costs. There was no way I was going to be able to live in West Loop and quit my job and
That's where you
focus on
lived?
that. Yeah.
That's a nice area.
Yeah, we got in there right before they started like really where it's at now.
Yeah.
Like it was like ghost town when we were there, and all of a sudden like they started raising our rent over and over. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I can't do this shit.
Especially if you're starting a music career from scratch.
Yeah, you don't want to add that stress. You just want to focus on the music.
So you met people in the music industry through the job you had? The people that were going to the studio?
I was working at Career Builder.
I know Career Builder.
Yeah, I worked there, and I met these two guys who one of them would rap, and the other one, he was almost. I would describe him as like a Rick Rubin.
Okay, I was just listening to a Rick Rubin podcast with Mark Maron.
Yeah, he taught me a lot of the basics, a lot of just like writing exercises, and he was really helpful with that. So when that happened, then my brother was like, Drew's his best friend, the guy that produces for me. And he's like, hey, Drew just got a studio. Why don't you guys just see what you can do together? So then we started hanging out more and working together on music, and then that's kind of how our relationship developed. And then I started going to the studio more and meeting more people that way. So just getting out there and networking.
And how did you like start coming up with raps and lyrics and putting them together and finding a way to orchestrate like a song? Was that something that you've been doing for a while and you started to actually apply it?
No. What did I start doing? I started watching a lot of like just like YouTube videos and like music theory and just like learning more about how to like structure songs. So I was getting the basics from that. And the more, because I mean, at first I was just shooting shit at a wall. Like the melodies didn't even make sense, but I was like, do this melody here, this melody here, this melody here. And then Drew's like, there's a science behind it. Like you shouldn't have more than 3 and 4 melodies in the thing. And like, then I started diving more into like what makes a song catchy and like studying that more. And then the more I started practicing that, the easier it was to just like build out the songs. But I would say around 26, 27 is when I really started like writing and putting intention behind what I was trying to do.
That's really impressive because most people, again, like I started doing that at like 14.
That's crazy. I wish. But I guess everything happens.
So that's like half that age.
Yeah.
Which is like crazy because it's really rare for someone to start so late, especially when you were in like one career.
Yeah,
like
true.
you went to college, and that's a good school.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming your parents didn't go to college.
Oh, no, they did not.
Right,
No.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, we're first generation. to
Right,
do
so
that.
that's probably a huge ordeal for your family, you know? And then to do that and then to leave it, like how did your family feel about it?
My mom was super supportive, but I think that just goes back to because she saw how crazy hours I was putting in it.
Yeah.
So if anything, like she pushed me even more because I remember when I first told her that I was thinking about moving to LA, I was like, I'm just gonna do it for like a month or 2, and she's like, why? I'm like, I don't know, I just like see if I like it, whatever. She's like, Vanessa, if you're gonna do this, like, go get a lease, do it. She's like, don't half-ass it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So like she would push me in different ways like that. My dad, I still think doesn't get it.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
when are you gonna start? Like, when are you gonna end it? And I'm like, there's no ending it.
It's not
Like,
ending
you don't
it.
get it.
It's life now.
Yeah, this is what I'm doing.
When did you realize you wanted to go to LA? So you were doing it for 2 years here, and then you're like, was it taking off in certain directions?
It was. I was getting more momentum, and I think I hit a place with Chicago because we were talking about how tiny it feels. Like, even though it's not tiny,
Compared to LA and New York,
yeah,
Chicago can feel
especially
small.
with the music industry, like you just kind of already meet everyone within that time frame, you know? So I felt like I had already collab with people, but like I wasn't finding people aside from Drew that like really understood what I was trying to go for. So that, I think, just mixed with, I also was going through another really bad breakup, just back to back.
Oh, man.
Got hit with another one.
Yeah.
But at that time too, I was like, what do I got here? Like, I've already done, our lease was about to be up on our studio. Drew's like, I'm thinking about just moving. He's like, why don't we? And I'm like, fuck it. In a month, we just got our shit and left.
Bad timing though, huh?
Bad timing, but the only thing I will say that I liked is it helped me just focus and understand, like, I'm here in LA to work. I'm not here to, like, get distracted and go to parties. And, like, I feel like if it would have been open, I easily would have got swept up in, like, let's go out, let's do this.
Yeah.
But I couldn't, so it just forced me to sit down every single day and write and work on music. And, like, that's all I did all year. So I think I grew tremendously. And I feel like I'm now just starting to see the benefits of working all year with this new music that I'm working on.
With no other obligations, just
No other
focusing.
obligations. Like, that was my only role.
How many songs would you say you wrote in the last year and a half?
I think I have a private playlist. I think we have like 50 to 60 in there.
Whoa.
And not all finished,
Right.
but like the idea's there, the feeling's there. Some are finished, some are halfway.
I love that. I could tell you from Chicago because you said the ideas are there. I love it. I love it.
Oh man, I've been getting called out on my accent a lot now that I moved to LA.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure that. I mean, every time I go anywhere, they know.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is not from around here.
No.
I mean, I love going to rural areas because I already have like that accent, and then I also like dress very colorful.
Okay.
And I'll be in the middle of nowhere on a road trip,
Yup.
and I walk in that little gas station. They're just like looking at me like, "Who
Who's
is
that dude?"
This person's not from around."
I love when they can tell.
Oh
like
yeah,
breaking
I'm sure
it.
you get it too. If you've ever driven across the country,
so funny.
stopped in a gas station in the middle of Kansas, there's like, "Who's
this
this
bitch?
person?"
Yeah. The looks. Honestly, it kind of makes me laugh.
Yeah, it's funny. I embrace it.
Me too.
So before you moved to LA, and you're writing songs. How many songs did you have here before you left, like publicly?
Oh, public?
Yeah.
I don't even know how many songs I have out right now. I think public probably like around 15.
15. Are they EPs, records, singles?
Mostly singles.
Mostly singles. Do you have a full length?
A what?
Do you have a full length record?
I have 2 projects that I dropped. Nothing like I haven't done a debut album or anything like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
I'm gonna wait till I feel like fully ready for that. Like right now I'm working on a project that is volume 1 because I do see with the storyline there's no end yet. I see it going through. But that's kind of the second closest I've gotten to an album, but
Yeah.
I don't know, too much pressure.
Yeah, the album's daunting.
It is. I'm waiting till I feel it.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm so tired.
Am I boring
No,
you?
you're not at all. I am been overwhelmed with life,
Yeah.
and I got good sleep last night, but the night before I only slept 2 hours.
Oh, fuck.
But I slept like 7.5 last night, so I'm feeling good. But I don't know, there's just so much going on.
Total 9
It's been
hours.
really busy.
Yeah, I feel
So you have no full length, but you think you want to maybe have one out in a year or two?
Yeah, I think that would be. I mean, I have so many songs too in my vault that like a few of them are still speaking to me. Where I'm like, I keep getting drawn back to it, but I haven't finished that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a lot of those songs, just because it started off, which is so weird. I feel like when I first started off, it was almost, which you wouldn't expect this, but I was way more confident in the shit that I would do. I'd be like, that was raw. I wouldn't even question it. And I think now I'm at a point where I'm like, no, it could be better. It could be better. It could be better. But that energy that was drawn from like the very beginning stages had so much energy that I feel like now with where I'm at, I can take a lot of that and like get it to where it should be. Because like I can hear like how I delivered it. The performance wasn't there. Or like the lyrics, they could be better now. And like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of those songs I can take to like a debut album. Like they're there for sure. So
Well, it sounds like it's coming from more experience. You now know how to better look at what your work is and be more critical of it.
for sure.
At first, it might have been like, oh, these are dope because it's new.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the first time I recorded, I thought it was amazing. It was terrible, but I thought it was so great. It was one
it's so
microphone
funny
in
how
a
it does.
room with a full band.
Oh, wow.
And it was a crappy, like, $30 Tascam microphone, a handheld dynamic one, like one you wouldn't even use for a room mic. It was so bad. I remember just listening to it in my friend's room. I think it was in January 2009. This is the first digital recording I did. It's like 12 and a half years ago. And I just thought it was like the coolest thing.
Isn't it so funny?
It was so bad. And
I have a lot of those.
yeah, the recordings, I mean, after hundreds and thousands, like they've gotten so much better. And it's still, now it's easier to make a better recording, but I still listen back on stuff. And I'm just like, oh, it's not good.
That's how I feel.
know?
Like, I used to listen to my shit over and over and over, and I was like, this is so raw, I can't wait. And now I have trouble even showing people. Like, I'm like, wait till it's there. And, like, I think because I know what the vision is now, that I'm like, I just don't even want to show you until it's there because, I don't know. But I'm more reluctant to show people.
Yeah.
But
But I mean, that's a good thing. It means you're being aware of what you're doing. You're being able to be self-critical.
yeah.
And you know that you want to do something at the best, the highest caliber. And you like
For sure.
want it to mean something. And
Yeah.
like that's how you can get other people to be on it, like featured people, like how you
Yep.
were able to get, you know,
John
Jean Doe on it is by having a good production, good lyrics, good delivery, good timbre,
Yeah.
good style.
Just got to get the idea there
Mm-hmm.
for people to fully see it. And I think that was my mistake before is I just assumed like, yeah, everyone gets it rough. Like they'll get it. And it's just like, no, you don't get the reaction. And then that kind of brings you down. But it's like, just wait till it's done. And that's the intention behind it. You know, the reaction that it gets is the reaction it gets. You don't have to, I guess, look for that reassurance. Just kind of like, you got it now. You don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's where I'm at.
How has it been being a female hip hop artist in an industry that's so dominated by men, both the audio world of production and the rap world or the hip hop world? I know there's more women in it now than ever.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
it's still so male dominated.
It's still tough. Like,
yeah.
It is. I mean, how we said the whole like feeling like you're not heard and all
Yeah.
that happens still pretty often. It's so interesting. I just can't wait to get past this point in life.
What do you mean?
I just like people not taking women seriously, especially with seeing like how many different types of rappers there are now and how much dynamics. Like if you listen to a lot of, not to shit on male rap, but like a lot of it sounds the same and they're all really big.
Yeah, I
And-
agree.
And it's crazy that
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are expecting Meg Thee Stallion to be able to dance, to be able to like have her pen, to be able to like have the right cadence, and like they put so much more
Scrutiny.
pressure, scrutiny, and then these guys are able to have like 50. So to answer your question, it's tough still being in that, but we're hitting little breaks
Yeah.
slowly but surely.
Yeah, I'm just curious. You know, I can't imagine, but I know that the industry from the engineering side and producer side there are more women going in it now, and then from the artist and creative side, there's more women, but it's still not the same. And yeah, it is like the standard is strangely higher.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't get it.
And not only I don't know, this might sound controversial, but
What?
not only you just take a big puff of
I
weed,
know. I'm like, here we go. Let's go. I'm ready for it.
Not only is the standard higher, but the standard is higher physically as far as looks.
Oh my God. These girls look banging and they're still like, her hips are too big. Oh, look at those stretch marks. And I'm like, what does Lil Uzi Vert look like without a shirt? No offense. I love Lil Uzi. But it's like, if we're going to start comparing,
Yeah.
then let's compare all of them then.
Exactly.
Bring them to the same scrutiny.
Men are allowed to look a certain way, and women
grimy
aren't.
and, like, it's not fair.
It's not.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't understand it. I try to not ever do that or think about it and, judge someone by their skills, their abilities, their creativity, what they can do,
Yeah.
and nothing else. And it's hard. It's a lens that's been put on us from birth as men in America, but it's a lens that can be changed.
For sure.
You know,
Just bring awareness to it.
Yeah, bring awareness to it. Talk about it. Like what we're doing right now. You have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like hiding it and just being like, I don't want to touch that subject. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, you're a woman, I'm a man. Like, we could talk about this. This is how
sure.
you learn.
You're right.
It's so hard for men to talk to women about it because it comes from a place of shame. Like, I try not to do those things, but I'm embarrassed about it sometimes. Just
Yeah.
like not realizing it or accidentally doing that and
Yeah.
saying something inappropriate. I mean, I don't think I do, but I know I have to. Like I definitely have done it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that much, but I'm aware. I'm a person. I have flaws,
Yeah.
and I just go to places where I'm like, this is just a person that has their own issues and they have their own life, and it shouldn't matter the color of their skin or what chromosomes they have or
Yeah.
what kind of genitals they have or how they identify. Like it,
True.
what can they do in that basement? Like that's it.
True.
Like what you did, like that's it. Like nothing else should matter. But for some reason, there's this like weird scale that's just so unbalanced. Of like they have to look just perfect,
Yeah.
gorgeous. They have to have the right clothes. They have to have the right body. They have to have the right voice. They have to have all these things. Whereas a guy, it's like, oh yeah, he wrote like a sick line. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like everything else doesn't matter. Like that's it.
And I find it interesting. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Now, let's take women and then lesbian women. And I feel like a lot of lesbian artists are kind of shunned and put to the side. Like, look at Young M.A. Like, she's dope. She's amazing. But, like, I feel like people don't like paying attention to her because she's a woman lesbian rapper that doesn't look like a Meg or like Cardi or Nicki, you know, like she doesn't look
Yeah.
like that. So I don't know. I found that those type of women have been pigeonholed too, and it's fucking even. It's sad.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel that way personally?
Yeah. I feel like I'm sure if I was showing my tits and showing my ass and shit, like I probably would get a lot more attention, but like that's just not me.
It's not you. I mean, to be honest, like, and you notice you're dressed more of that, like that tomboy.
Yeah.
type of- and you said that earlier. You admitted like where you grew up, how you grew up. It's just how you
just
are.
me, yeah. And
Yeah.
I remember once I went in a room and this dude was like, "So, are you gonna go with the whole lesbian thing?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, are you gonna continue talking about that, or like, is just that not a thing of what you're trying to market yourself? I'm like, "No, I'm very much a lesbian, so yeah, I would like people to know."
Yeah.
And like, I was just like, I can't believe that's coming out of your fucking mouth.
Yeah. That's
I think I even said that. I was like, "You're lucky you're saying that to me," but I'm like, don't say that shit. Like, that's so fucking rude.
that's rude. Yeah, I'm sorry that you.
I mean, it's whatever. I just laugh at people like that. I'm just like, I cannot believe that.
But
The shit
thing
that I've
is,
gotten from
that's
people.
the problem though. Like, you shouldn't have to laugh at that.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's like a defense
not.
mechanism.
It is.
You're just like, well, in order to get past this, I have to just find humor in it
Yeah,
somehow because
that's
it's
true.
so messed up. Like, I've never been asked that ever.
Yeah. And
You know.
then in that same day, I remember that person came up to me and like patted I was wearing like a nutty, patted me down like this. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I just look like you gained a little bit of weight, but I wanted to make sure." He's like, "You're good." I was like, "Oh, you motherfucker."
What?
Just like you hear shit like that. And like,
wait. We got to go back to this. What did you just say?
yes.
Do you know this person?
Yeah, I used to like. It was when I was first starting off. He was like kind of trying to help, whatever. But
That's not
He's not in
helpful.
it anymore. No, I know. He
That's
would just say some
creepy.
crazy shit. I was like,
That's so
Damn.
inappropriate. Why?
but I feel like that's the music industry. Like, I'm sure other women have heard way worse shit than I have. You know.
Yeah.
So like,
But that still doesn't justify like that behavior. Like,
doesn't.
there's always something worse.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound crude, but like there's rape,
yeah,
which is the worst,
for sure.
rape and murder, and then there's a weird statement,
Like that little
just a weird
lead-off.
verbal thing of like, oh, I didn't know you can actually do that. Like, there's a massive spectrum of everything that's unacceptable
Yep.
across the board, and someone going up to your sides, to your love handles,
Patting me down.
and touching them, saying like, just making sure you didn't get away. I would have.
It's just like, damn.
If someone did it to me, I would have like, that would not been good. And I'm a guy, so like I can't imagine how you felt. And
I was just trying to stay kind of professional, you know. I was just like, all right.
which is
I mean,
so
I could
sad
act
because
out
that's
and
so
be crazy.
unprofessional what he did.
Yeah,
and
for
you're
sure.
trying to be the better person. And like I keep hearing that from women who are doing the thing that in order to, they feel like they can't do anything or say anything, so because they'll lose their place and how much like momentum and how far they've gone already.
Yeah.
They're afraid of like saying something because when you come out as a whistleblower of any kind, like it really goes two ways. You either get too much spotlight and it's bad for like your career
Yeah.
because people don't want to like work with you anymore because you're like they think you're like a tattletale or like you can't handle things,
For sure.
or it like helps you and you might get like a settlement and all this stuff, but then people still see you. Like it's almost like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
Which is unfair. That lens and that perspective should be completely thrown into the garbage. A new one should arise that people should come out and say what they're doing, and it should be
For sure.
actually upheld by people and respected, and you should be able to go further because you broke that mold and you were honest.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it sucks that you were trying to be professional, which is, I mean, that's great. It's a great quality, but
Yeah.
under those circumstances, no one should ever touch someone like that and say
Yeah.
that, no matter who they are.
Yeah, you'd get
Even a partner, even your husband, like that's not acceptable
yeah,
behavior.
like your body, no one else's business.
No,
Yeah.
no, not at all. Like that's sad that
I know.
those things happen, and I'm sure worse things have happened, and I know they have
Yeah.
to you and to many other people. But yeah, to have that said, the thing about being lesbian, like
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean
That's
am I
your-
gonna go with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my fucking,
it's
that's
your-
who I am.
It's a life. It's your life.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna go with being a producer guy? Like, yeah, no one's questioning you. So like, why are you questioning me?
Are you gonna let people know about your girlfriend? Like, yeah, it's part of your life.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
that's heavy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Been a weird ride for sure.
It was,
But the music makes it worth it. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll deal with it.
but like you shouldn't have to deal with it.
I know.
Why are
Putting an end to it right the fuck now. You hear me?
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you, whoever.
I'll cut you up.
That's crazy. Were these types of things happening in incapacity before music and when you were in your other job?
Other jobs, oh my God, yeah. Yeah, my bosses were always so weird. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm a chill person that people think that they can say whatever they want to me. And I usually don't go off. I'm just kind of like, all right, you're fucking, I'll say something back. But I remember once when I was at Career Builder,
Yeah.
I was wearing like it was casual Fridays. And I would always wear just flannels because I was like, that's easy. I don't want to fucking wear a skirt or like, I just flannel,
Yeah.
It's a casual Friday. So one time my boss came up to me and he's like, so we need to have a conversation. I'm like, what's up? He's like, maybe dress it up a little, Vanessa. You're always in a flannel. And I'm like, and I started fucking with him. I'm like, all right, if he's going to make me feel uncomfortable, I'm going to do it back. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot. Are you saying that to me because I'm a lesbian? And he's like, oh my God, no, don't take it there. I'm like, well, lesbians wear flannels. I'm like, this is our uniform if you didn't know.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, come on, don't make it about that. I'm like, well, why are you telling me about my flannels, dude? Like, come on. And he's like, I'm just saying dress it up a little bit. And then he walked away. He felt uncomfortable after that.
I'm sure.
But I'm just like, shit like that where I'm like, are you going up to these guys that are wearing flannels every day and saying...
So they're wearing flannels too, and...
I didn't hear a conversation.
Yeah.
He just came up to me and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But just little things like that,
Yeah.
We're just like, all right. You see it in little ways.
It's the little things that accumulate to a massive suppression. Mm-hmm. It's the little tiny nuances of jabs, statements, passive-aggressive, just little things that I'm sure the comments you hear daily throughout from when you leave your house at a job like that to when you come home or when you're in this industry, when little things, all the way up to someone touching your size.
Yeah.
But then the other things like, no, like ignoring you. You have an idea and someone's like, no, but then someone else says it and you're like, okay. Or, getting picked for a job or a gig just because, and then you get ignored because you're a woman, and not only a woman, but a woman who dresses the way you dress.
Yeah.
Or looks the way you look. Or has a skin tone that you have. Like, there's so many variables.
Yeah, for sure.
And being a minority, a Mexican-American woman who's also a lesbian, like, that's two minorities.
For sure.
That's a lot. Like, that should not matter, and I don't think it does.
Yeah.
But that matters to this world we live in right now.
Unfortunately.
And that's a lot. That's a really steep battle. Like, that hill is very steep.
You just, like, hold it. Sometimes I feel like I'm legit going crazy because I just want to freak out, but I'm like, and then I'll smoke and chill out.
Like,
but...
In what way? Like, what's making you go crazy?
Because normally my reaction is I want to lash out and I want to be like that would have been old me, just lash out and tell someone how I feel, but like in a very aggressive way. Mm-hmm. But now as I've gotten older, I've learned to just kind of like chill out, but that lashing out is still there that I want to do. Mm-hmm. So like I think because I'm holding it in so much, I'm just like, and then my inside's like screaming, but I'm like, all right, we'll talk about this when I chill out,
Yeah.
And then I'll go chill out and then I'll come back and I'm like, okay, this is what bothered me about that. I guess I'm just learning how to communicate better. Mm-hmm. But my inner instinct is like...
And you think you want to lash out because the pressure really is that high.
Yeah, it's just like annoying ass shit you hear every day. And you're just like, can we just stop with this? Like, why can't we just like go on with our days and not pick at little things or like little jabs, like you said, that you hear that build up?
Yeah, a lot of jabs.
Yeah.
Just... the weird statements.
Yeah.
And the really sad thing is when you hear women who go along with it. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, yeah, I've heard before. I'm not going to say who or what or where or when or why, but, like, yeah, I don't think women should be president. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, my God, we just lost like a couple hundred years of progress by that statement.
I fucking hate hearing that.
I know. Or like, I don't know, like lawyer or doctor or engineer, like that's for a man. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, just like a product of their environment, and they don't even know.
It's just, but like, it's a woman saying it. Like,
I know. That's
like,
how
the sheer fact you're saying this and have this freedom is because women have rights.
Yep.
Like, how do you not see the irony of that statement?
That's crazy.
You know?
They've just been, I guess, groomed to hate themselves too.
Yeah.
Because those are the perspectives that are being fed to us. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's hard.
That's really hard. What a
This is the
bummer.
world. Let me hit my pen.
Yeah, you're fine. So you go to LA during the pandemic, or you move there 2 months before it shuts down,
Yeah.
and you come up with 50, 60 songs, not all complete, and you're here now. What's the next big step for you? What's your next goal for, like, 1 year from now?
One year.
Where do you want to be? July 20th, 2022.
Oh my God. Still in LA for sure. I'm not ready to leave.
Yeah.
I think for me is like what I'm really focusing on this year is getting in more rooms to write for more artists, like being more open to that because I feel like that brings a lot more creativity to my own shit.
Mm-hmm.
I want to, for this project, I want to at least be on volume 2.
Yeah.
What else? I want to get on a good tour. And I think that's going to come from obviously like still putting out my work and I'm going to be performing at that venue a lot more, but after I start having that, like especially for my volume 2, I want to have that at least goal-wise. I'm putting it out there because it's going to be my Twitter. Twitter's usually the thing that brings things to fruition for me. But you said 2022?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, what year are we in?
1 year from today.
1 year from today, I want to have my tour booked for the project that I'm on.
Nice. Like all North America or just America?
I want to start off in America for sure.
Yeah.
But I've actually been being reached out by like, it's crazy how other countries are almost even more supportive than America.
Yeah,
feels
America can suck when it comes to the arts.
Yeah.
And Europe can be really great about it.
Yeah, and people have been reaching out, so I'm like, maybe I do a little Europe.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
I'm right there with you.
And it'd be cheaper to travel too within that, right? Isn't it?
It can be. It can be because the cities and the areas are so close to each other.
Yeah.
And if you're doing like a DJ and I mean, I'd probably take
Easy.
trains everywhere.
Yeah, true.
You know, you don't need much gear, right? Just the DJ setup and like you could fit that in a backpack.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't lose it.
I lost my wallet coming in here
Really?
into Chicago.
From LA to Chicago?
Yeah.
How'd you lose it?
I had gotten one of these.
Starbucks.
I know.
That's the problem. You got Starbucks.
I know. I hate that I do this.
Well, what's in there? What kind of coffee? Just black?
Just a
or-
tall pike.
What's
yeah,
a,
black.
What's a pike?
Pike Place. I don't know. That's the name of their coffee.
Oh, the type of bean.
Yeah.
Yeah, the roast. Okay.
Is
I
that
know.
what it, I'm so bad with coffees. I'm just like, just give me a black coffee. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Put it in there.
It's their type of bean. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
So I usually just get that. But I was putting my drink down before I got on the flight, and I'm pretty sure I left it right on that seat. Because then when I got back, I think, I was trying to take the blue line. So I was trying to pay for a little thing.
From O'Hare.
Yeah. And I didn't find my wallet. I'm like, fuck. So I went back. They didn't find it.
Well, someone might have just snagged it.
Yeah, but they didn't even try charging anything because I still watch. They listen and they start charging.
Just so happens they listen to this podcast.
Randomly came across it, but I didn't
these
cancel
are-
my debit card because it's hooked up to my Apple Pay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, at least I have access to my money in some way.
Yeah, Apple Pay's been a game changer when it comes to losing stuff.
legit.
And a lot of places take it.
Yeah,
Most places.
almost everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah. So
It's good and bad. Because it's like, what are we
Yeah.
doing with these devices?
right,
Like,
so
these are just our lives. Like,
it really
everything.
is.
You know?
It's so weird. But yeah, so I lose a lot of things. So
Are you a forgetful person naturally?
super forgetful.
You think it's the weed? Or you've always been that way?
I've always been that way, but I think the weed's definitely taken it to
Exacerbates it.
another level. But I've always been pretty careless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that just runs in my family.
Is it like more like free spirit, like whatever happens, happens? Or
Yes,
is it? Yeah.
it's very much that. Like people hate that in me. That like planning shit with me, it's very difficult because I'm like, well, let's just wait. Let's figure it out when we're there. And like everyone's like, no, we need to have this booked. We need to figure this out. I'm like, all right. So
Yeah.
that's kind of leaked into me, and I saw myself do that to my family this weekend, which is the little argument.
What'd
that
you
we
do?
had. So it was my mom's birthday, and my brother's like, yeah, we're gonna go to this restaurant. So you'd think you'd have the reservation set up. It's a few of us, and he never does that. But I was like, he's older, he's got it. We're gonna be there, so it'll be fine. So we show up, and we drive all the way downtown, and it's closed, like been closed for a minute. And I'm like, did you call the restaurant for reservations? He's like, no, I didn't. I'm like, Hector, like, come on, man. Like, we should know better than that by this point. And he's like, whatever, who cares? And I'm like, all right. So I let it go. And then we get to the other restaurant. It's like this dinky. I didn't want to eat in there. It didn't look good. And I'm like, this is where we're going? He's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, next time, just like, for your own sake, just try to make a reservation, ask questions, and like, then we avoid all that, you know? And he's like, who fucking cares, dude? Like, just let it go. And then that's when we got into it. He's like, you're so negative. I'm like, it's just advice. Like, this helps me. I don't have to worry about shit. Like, it could help you just put a little more order in your day.
It sounds like being an artist has made you realize you have to, like...
You have to, otherwise
like,
you're going to lose your shit.
Like today, right now, like booking, coming here at a certain time, a certain day.
Yeah.
You know, you have things to do, I have things to do. Like,
time is so important now. So I guess that's what I've learned from doing all this is like time is super important. So don't play with my time.
Yeah. It's bittersweet because I'm ridiculously organized.
Are you?
It's, oh my God. Like, I have to like schedule hanging out with people in my calendar.
Oh shit. I'm always like, hit me up day of. I'll let you know if I want to hang out.
It's bad. It's bad. It's good because it allows me to like, the way I do it is the way I approach everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm extremely technical until I don't have to be. I'm that way with my emotions. I'm that way with love. I'm that way with friends and my job. So it's like this podcast. Like we're gonna do this session, be here at 10. But then like what happens within that session, where I move, the lighting, your dancing, all that is whatever happens. It's just within the confines of the planned event.
For sure.
This podcast is like, all right, we'll do it afterwards. We're starting at noon. Or whatever time, like 11:30. But where we go doesn't matter. But like to get here has to be planned and very orchestrated. Then anything beyond that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm that way with everything. If I want to hang out with someone, it's like, all right, let's hang out at 7 Friday. Like, well, I have to be at 7. It's like, we got to pick a time.
Yeah.
'Cause I got things to do. As soon as you pick that time, though, and I now know, like, we're hanging out Friday at 7, I'm good. Like, as soon as 7 hits and you show up, we'll do whatever we want.
Yeah.
But I need that time because now I have to figure out when I'm going to eat dinner. When am I going to edit? When am I going to reach out to these bands? When am I going to promote this? When am I going to go on a run?
A lot
like,
of shit going on in your
yeah,
day.
and you gotta like it has to be organized in order for it to work. But once it gets to that point, then whatever happens, happens. And I'm that way too with like feelings. When I'm close to somebody, I don't just go on a whim and just say like crazy stuff. It's like once I feel that connection, then and things make sense, like on a fundamental level, then I feel free to be myself.
Yeah.
And
you
let
guys
it all
have
go.
both earned that right. You know,
Yeah.
to be like that with each other.
Yeah. And not everyone's like that though. Sometimes it takes people forever to like be comfortable with themselves.
Yeah.
Regardless of how they feel.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
I'm
Some
just-
people never get there,
No, they don't.
which is so crazy.
That is crazy.
I know a few people like that where it's like they don't attach feelings to people. And I'm like, that's so sad. Like, it's almost this facade to, I guess, to just make sure they don't get hurt.
That's exactly
Dating.
what it is.
Yeah, I'm just like,
It usually comes from a lot of struggle and pain from life, abuse,
that makes sense.
past relationships.
Yeah.
It definitely seems like women do it more than men because they have to stay safe.
Yeah.
To like, I mean, yeah, there's a lot where it seems like when it comes to actually admitting to how you feel or actually wanting to try something romantic or not, it seems like women can be a little bit more reluctant because of safety reasons, like
For sure.
physical safety and emotional safety. Men don't have as much to worry about, so it's so much easier to just be like, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that. And, you know, even little things like I go for walks and anywhere I want, I don't think about safety because I'm just not scared. I feel like no one's going to do anything to me. And then I've suggested...
a luxury.
It is. And I've suggested it to women, and they're like, I can't do that. I'm like, why? Like, I can't go for a walk in the forest at dusk.
Yeah, it's late.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, I don't even think about that.
Like that happened yesterday. I tried going to the beach, and originally I went all the way at the end of Lakeshore Drive, where it's like Broadway or whatever, all the way at the end. And me and my friend were about to go in, and she looked really nervous. She's like, "You sure we could do? It looks really dark. Like they don't even have lights or anything." And I'm like, "You know what? You're right. This is actually kind of dangerous." And then we turned around and then went to like a more lit area.
Yeah.
But like the fact that like we had to think about that of like, actually, let's go to a more lit place to make sure we feel like somewhat safe.
Was safe from people?
Safe from, you don't know, from anyone who might sneak up on you or like
Right.
a
See,
guy
I
that
don't
might be
think
out
about that.
there, like we have to think about that a lot, especially when I go on hikes in LA. Like I remember so many times people are like, you're going on hikes, like, don't put your headphones in, like, be aware of your surroundings. And, like, I hear that over and over and over.
That's
and I'm
so
like,
stressful.
yeah.
Like, that's why that facade you said, like, I think that's why people, women more specifically, will put that up, because I've never been told don't put earbuds in.
Yeah.
I've never been told, like, don't go alone. It's like, I went alone this morning with earbuds in the whole
Crazy.
time and didn't think about anything.
Yeah. They're like, put your hair up. It's less.
Yeah.
You can't get hurt as much.
I don't even think about it. I'm like, if
So-
someone tried to mess with me, I'll just kill them. Like, I'm not scared. Like, I'll just go primal on them. I'm not worried. Bite off the ear. I don't care.
Damn.
I'm a really good climber, so I always just go, I'm going to run as fast as I can to a tree and climb up it.
Smart. Try getting me now. Like throwing shit at them.
It's just like, it sucks. I just wish that wasn't. I wish it wasn't like that. It's so many opportunities you miss out on from that fear.
Yeah.
And when you are doing it and you have that fear, it's not as enjoyable.
Yeah, it's true, because you're looking. Oh my God,
Yeah.
when we had to cut, because we had to park at North Avenue, that street.
Yeah.
We had to cut through the park, and when we were going back to the car, I mean, I just feel a little bit more comfortable in the city. I've lived here, so like I'm not as on edge.
You're also in Lincoln Park.
Yeah, in Lincoln Park. So like I've been in bad neighborhoods, so it's not like I'm
Lincoln
not
Park's not
looking.
bad.
I'm not looking over my shoulder. But
Yeah.
she's from Indiana, so like
Oh my God.
I remember looking over her. I was just not trying to draw attention, but she's just like
Super scared.
the entire time, and I'm like, I get it though. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna judge her for it. Like it could be scary, and it was really dark when we were
Yeah.
crossing the park. So I'm like, I get it.
When you're with a man, how much of that changes?
You feel more comfortable for sure. Like my defenses get even lower, just because it's almost like having a dog.
Yeah.
Like people aren't gonna approach you as easily.
Especially with the big dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Wow.
So with a guy, I definitely feel a little bit more on edge, or less on edge.
Yeah. And with a group, it probably just goes away completely.
Yeah, for sure.
Man. That's crazy.
Levels to the shit.
Yeah, I have no levels. I don't care who I'm with or like. I actually feel less scared of anything when I'm alone, because I'm just like, no one else. This is
To
on
worry
nobody, and I
about.
could just run away,
Yeah, that's true.
or I could just fight the person if I have to. I don't want to fight,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't have that fear. It's again, it's a perk for being a man, being a white man, being not small. I'm
Yeah.
not big, but I'm certainly not small.
Not
And, like, these are
small,
all
yeah.
factors,
For sure.
It's just sucks. It's like I don't think about it, not in a selfish way, but when it is your reality, this is how my lens is how I perceive the world. You don't realize those things.
So different than other people's lens, for sure.
Yeah. But I try my best to put myself in those shoes. And I even thinking about that when I do walk past or run past women in the forest, I'm aware of that. And I like usually smile and wave and like stay away from them.
I love that.
You know?
That would be nice. Like if guys smiled and waved. Like I never even thought of something so simple. Or
It's more like a good morning, like a smile
Yeah.
and a wave, and but I mean, literally stay away from them, not even to interrupt their jog or anything,
that's nice of you.
because
You're
it's
a
like,
different breed. We need to make more of you. We need to clone you. Would you be okay with that? We need more of yous
I think
in
there's
the
already
world.
too much of me in the world, and that's just me. I think we don't need any more Ben. But thank you.
I've never heard a guy even talk about that.
Really? I think about it all the time because I just hear so many things from women, and I listen. Like I try to listen and understand. Like what could that? Like I put myself in your shoes the best way I can. I never can fill them, but I try, and I think like what could that feel like? What could that mean? So I try to be really conscious of it, and it's hard. I've as of late have found myself like crying a lot about it.
Damn.
Yeah, thinking about it a lot, reading about it, researching it, looking at YouTube videos about it, listening to women talk about it on this podcast, off of it. There's a lot of really heavy stories, and it's because I believe it's because I've made an active effort to listen and like try to understand. And a lot of guys won't. I'll be like, yeah, I get it. Like sexism is a real problem. And like they stop there. It's like,
Exactly.
are
They
you
don't
even
push
hearing the
themselves.
stories?
Yeah.
Like actually have someone you know and care about or even love tell you something that happened to them. And like until that happens, you don't really understand it as a guy.
I wonder, and I don't know how this works because again, like how we're raised and stuff, and I don't know if how guys are raised adds to this. but like empathy. I think women, and this is generalizing, but I feel like because birthing and like whatever, you feel more empathetic towards humans, you know?
100%.
So like even close guy friends that I know, like it's almost like they lack empathy completely. And I'm like, bro, how are you not understanding the level of this?
Yeah.
And they're like, you're just too sensitive. And I'm like, no, it just fucking hurts.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people lack empathy.
I don't even think that's a generalization. I think that's true. I think it's true biologically. I think it has to be. I think for a human being, for any animal, specifically mammals, and more
Yeah, you're
specifically
right.
humans,
To birth something.
I mean, unlike any other mammal, we take years until we go through puberty to take care of ourselves. It takes until our teens for us to like actually be capable of doing things on our own.
For sure.
So that's like 10, 15 years of a parent like taking care of nourishment and paying for and supporting this thing that takes forever to grow. But because we take that long to grow, our brains are so sophisticated. We focus more on our brains than anything.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think inherently through millions of years of evolution for humans and even a million years of the last modern human, you know, these adaptations are very important for women to, you give birth, you have to have that connection. It is so important to make sure that baby is okay. And that empathy is very different from a man. I mean, these things are also taught, but I think naturally, inherently, they're way more fundamental in women, and it's necessary.
Yeah.
Men are expendable. Like, to be crude, like men are just like meant to ejaculate and like dip. Like that's what it was forever.
Yeah, that was.
They're expendable. It's why they were literally always sent off to like deal with stuff. Because like if they die, you just need one guy to impregnate 20 women in the tribe.
That's true.
You don't need 20 guys. You need one.
Yeah,
Very expendable. In fact, you see it throughout nature all the time.
that's true.
Women will, like certain species will just kill the man after they have sex. Like they don't matter. And
That's so wild.
yeah,
to
and
think.
it's still true to this day. Like you need one guy, and you can have 7 billion women on this planet and one guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he'd be miserable. But like that's all it takes. Whereas it doesn't work the other way.
No, you're right.
So like we're not designed that way, and this is something that men need to understand, but women need to as well. Like having these conversations will help men understand. Like, yeah, maybe I'll never get to that place, like with empathy, because it's not in my chemistry, in my brain, because I don't have the female chemistry, the right balance of testosterone, estrogen, and everything else that comes with understanding that. But at least I could use my mind as a human to try to understand and get a couple notches closer, as close as I can get. We're never going to be the same. That's why the age-old like men and women clashing, because we're so different.
Yeah,
like we're not going to get to the
insane.
same place.
Yeah.
We're equally capable of doing the same things, but how we perceive, manifest these things, perceive and interact are very different.
Yeah.
We have different paths. We have different ways. Men just, and all they, like what we're designed to do is to like have sex and like spread seed. Like that. And we can keep doing that forever. We don't run out of eggs like you do.
Yeah.
We just keep going. And that's its own issue. And that is something to struggle with as a guy. You just have to like learn to not, suppress is not the right word because it sounds negative, but like
unlearn that.
Unlearn it and be okay with that and accept it and like learn better ways to handle it.
Yeah.
Better ways to not sexualize everything.
Yeah, true.
You know, it takes a lot of practice to learn that.
But it also starts with like how we're teaching our kids and stuff, and it's a whole cycle. So if it doesn't start there, then I don't think we'll ever get to a place like that.
It does need to start pretty young.
Yeah,
it does. And I mean, my parents are pretty good about it, but there's a lot of things they wouldn't talk about because growing up religious, there's certain things they just will not talk about.
For sure, same.
But as far as like respecting people and like not being, you know, rude and insensitive and saying like really weird stuff to them, and my mom was very, and my dad too.
I love that.
My mom and dad were very strict about that. I mean, my dad never said anything inappropriate to my mom, and they were always very nice to each other. They didn't swear at each other, like things like that. So I saw a good dynamic growing up from that. But
so we just need to clone your entire family, is what you're saying.
It really does start young. It's helpful, but yeah, you are what you perceive. And as a man, you need to have strong role models in women and men to understand like, oh, a woman is capable of everything, and a man is. We're just different in how we approach things and the way we look at them.
Yeah.
You know, and women, I think less than men because men have a lot more to work on as far as that.
Yeah.
I think women just need to understand like where men are coming from. Like it's not, we have it easier, but to get to where we are, to where we have a good middle ground, is a harder journey. There's a lot more to unlearn.
Oh,
so much to
for
unlearn.
sure. And that's hard.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like, that's what we need to have. Like, don't accept it and say, like what you said earlier, when that man did that, you're just like, well, I'm just trying to be professional and get through this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say do that. And I know it's easier said than done, but
push those conversations in the moment.
yeah, like say it. Like, we need to talk about what you just did.
Yeah.
And it sucks that you have to, it shouldn't be on you.
No.
But
no.
like, those types of things sometimes have to happen. You know, it's, I don't know. There's no right, easy way. It's hard either way. It's going to be hard for a woman or a man, no matter what. I think it's harder for women, for sure. But men need to just it takes time, just like slowly work at it.
Yeah.
You know, be aware of it. Don't say that thing. Don't sexualize everything. Don't catcall. I can't believe that. Whenever I hear them, like, people still do that.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, people still do that. Yeah.
Every woman ever
I'll be
tells
fully
me.
clothed, and I'm like, excuse me, how? What the fuck are you looking at? I'm in a mask. And like,
what? Give me an example. What would someone say to you? With the way you look.
oh,
the way
okay.
You
So
dress?
I actually just happened a few weeks ago. I just parked on a busy street, and mind you, I was in sweats. I mean, my hair was wet, but like I was in sweats. No, nothing to be like, hey, draw attention to me, you know. But I was walking down the street, and some dude, this nasty ass car. I was like, first of all, approach me right. But he just goes, hey, baby, and I turn around. He's like, come here. And I looked at him, I go, no. And I keep walking. And he's like, come on. And then I just kept walking. I was like, I'm not going to ignore you. But like that.
Yeah.
Like, you think that's going to be like, you know what? That might be my husband.
I never understood, like, why would that work? When has that ever worked?
I don't know. I don't think that's ever worked.
It doesn't work.
If it's worked, I hope person comments. It's worked for me. I met my wife. Like, I don't see it.
There is a lot of bad ways to start a relationship, and one would be off a cat call. Another would be off cheating. That's a really bad way to start.
Those are two. Yeah, you're right.
Lying, dishonesty, like all that is bad ways. But yeah, when it comes to like the catcalling thing, I don't get it. Or like, even not just catcalling, but I know women, and you probably can attest to this. The like that stare. You just like, no, like they're really staring at me.
It's creepy. Yeah, there's times I've been on the bus when I was I remember this as a little girl, like going to swim team. I had to get on the bus and go by myself. I remember a few times there was like guys looking at me, but because I was a hothead, I'd always be like, "Can I fucking help you?" And then they'd be like, "Oops."
Yeah, the stare thing.
But I'm like,
weird.
I'm a little ass girl. What are you looking at me like that for?
Yeah,
you know? Weirdos. Yeah, no. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, that's so interesting you brought that up. Like, I don't think that way at all. But today when I was walking in the forest by myself, I was going across the path that goes across the road, and by a parking lot, there's a bunch of little forest reserves that this path goes through. It's like 5.5 miles long. And there was a bunch of girls. I think they were getting ready to do a race. Might have been something for a camp. Maybe 30, 40 young girls, teenagers. And I was walking up and I saw all of them, and I was just like, I saw that I was the only guy. And I was like, I'm just going to look at the ground the whole time. Not that I would look at them, it doesn't matter, but to not even come close to making them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because they were wearing like like they were dressed to like run.
Yeah.
So like showing a lot of skin. And I was like, I'm not even going to look at them.
That's dope. You do
I'm
that.
literally just going to keep my head down and just keep my earbuds in and just keep walking down. Not even look to say hi, just completely ignore them because they're not wearing that much clothes because it's relative to what they're doing, their activity.
Yeah.
But they don't need those stories.
Eyes,
they don't even need to ever have that be a factor of like, oh, the guy in the forest is looking at us.
Yeah, no, I love that.
You know, and I'm a 31-year-old guy. I have facial hair. I'm hairy. Like, I might be innocent, but they don't know that.
They don't know.
So I don't even need to add that to a factor of their memory.
Yeah.
You know,
That's so awesome you do that.
I try to be conscious of it, and it just takes practice. You have to like think about it. Like,
It really does.
yeah, like I know I'm harmless, but they don't know me. I don't need make them feel uncomfortable before they go on their running journey of like, all the guys in the forest are looking at us.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep my head down, like not even acknowledge them. You know.
Yeah. That's the way to do it, for sure.
It just takes those little steps.
But it's little things like that make a world of a difference to make people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's little. Like, yeah, I will never understand that. Little ass things. Doesn't take much
No.
at all. unless you just choose to want to be creepy.
Yeah. But
That takes more effort, I
the thing,
feel.
a lot of it you're just taught. You're just like, oh,
Yeah,
they
true.
they want it. You're like, what?
It's like, who
I've heard
wants
guys
it?
say that, like, they want it just as much as we do. It's like, no.
Oh, no.
I was like, first of all,
I've
women are never
never
going to
heard
want
that.
sex as much as a guy. I hate to break it to you, women. Don't even think about it. Ain't going to happen. You don't have what we have coursing through our DNA. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, standards are still there.
Yeah, so it's like, don't even bother. And no, man. Like, no, they don't. Not like we do. And not like that. They want it when they're in love with you and, like, want to be with you.
Exactly.
There's
They
a
don't want
difference.
attention from everyone.
No,
yeah.
there's a difference. Like, yeah, someone will want it when they want it, and you'll know.
Yeah. They'll make it very clear.
Yeah.
Especially because it takes more for a woman to, like, if she's going to show attention, like, she'll show attention. If she's really into you, well, it depends on the kind of woman. But if she's really into you, I feel like you'll know. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
You won't get that high.
Yeah. So much sexual conversation about problems over here.
I know.
But it's necessary. It's not.
For sure.
It doesn't get talked about enough.
Mm-hmm.
And not in long form. It's where you can, like, really break down stuff,
For sure.
Yeah.
Good conversation. We're teaching. We're breaking barriers.
Whoever's listening.
All right.
I hope a lot of people listen. You got to show people in LA. You got to spread it.
Yeah, I will, for sure.
Yeah,
you got to
for you
come
too.
through.
I would love
Introduce
to.
you to everyone over there.
I would love to. I want to do this. What we did here today, I want to do mobile, around the world. And it's my goal. It's just so much fun to, like, to couple travel with, like, and leisure with, like, creativity and production. Like, you get something done. You get to bring home material, things that you can promote. You promote yourself selfishly, but you also promote the people you're working with, the other artists. And then you get to, like, travel and sleep on people's couches and
Just,
try
like,
new food and get new weather and just
That's a nice
the
feel.
whole thing is fun.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was having a conversation last night in the garage with my band, and we were just one of those joking ones where we're just like, all right, if you had $50 million right now, what would you do?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know. My friends were like, you'd quit. Like, what you'd, like, all the things. And I was like, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
They're like, you wouldn't quit work? I was like, this ain't work. I was like, I've done work.
Yeah.
I've done construction work. I've thrown boxes for 7 years at UPS. I've worked at Subway and Blockbuster. I've done the jobs
For sure.
where I wanted to kill myself. And I don't want to kill myself anymore. And recording band, I mean, it is work, but it's not that type of work.
No.
It's fun. It's
fulfilling.
creative. It's fulfilling. There's always something new.
Yeah.
There's always something different. Like, I had a straight up, like, folk rock, country-esque band last night that was super talented,
dope.
great at their craft. And then the next morning, I have a hip-hop artist from LA. Like, just opposite sides of the spectrum.
For sure.
4 white dudes and 1 Mexican girl. Like, like,
You're getting
but,
variety.
like, that's this life, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And it just hops around from place to place. And I just love music, and I love sharing with people. I love capturing it. I love giving that product back to the person so they could use maybe for 1 month or for the rest of their life.
Yeah,
maybe it books a gig, maybe it doesn't. I didn't realize that these sessions would get bands gigs all the time. That wasn't my intention at first.
That's amazing.
And a lot of them are like, yeah, these videos, they've been getting shows with it, and
Sick.
promoters like it because they get to see how you sound and how you perform live in a high quality fashion. Like,
That's dope.
yeah, I had no idea
love
that's
that.
what it would turn into. But yeah,
No wonder it's so fulfilling, like.
it's fun. It's fun, and it's stressful, but it's fun. And so I wouldn't quit. I was like, if I had $50 million, I would just upgrade all my gear.
Yeah, you'd
And I
have
keep
way
doing
more
it.
fun with it.
I would just keep doing it.
You'd probably have a way easier living, or like easier living in the sense like you could probably hire people too,
yeah,
and like
yeah, there'd be someone over there instead of me doing all this.
it'd be the one man show.
But it's hard not to do it. Now that I've, like, found myself just doing everything alone, I kind of like it because it's like you learn how to get decent at a bunch of stuff.
Everything, yeah.
And you learn how everything works and how to put it all together, and it becomes
sure.
easier. And I don't know, some people don't like that. They want to just do one thing, but
Yeah.
I enjoy wearing many hats,
Yeah, I feel like that's I'm getting pushed into that uncomfortableness. Like,
yeah.
I had Drew living with me, so I would kind of just focus on making the melodies, recording myself, and then he would work on like making sure like a little rough mix for my voice and like for the demo and shit like that. So I'm starting to, like, now that he's not there, learning more like how to do more vocal production and like having to teach myself these things, and also even recording myself in my own place, just like doing little vlogs and shit. I'm like pushing myself to do all these other things. But like you said, learning all these different pieces of it, it's cool. I think it's making me
A better artist.
a better artist for sure.
When you understand how something works from point to point, it helps you have a better understanding of the whole thing.
For sure.
You know, knowing the technology, knowing how to make a beat, how to manipulate drum beats in a software,
Yep.
how to edit stuff, how equalization works,
Yeah.
how compression works. It gives you a more visceral connection to what you're doing. And instead of
sure.
just being that artist that's like, I don't know, make it more pizzazz or
Exactly.
something. You just like don't even know what to
now
say.
you're learning like I'm learning terms, and I'm like, oh, cool. This is what we're using on my voice here. This is the plugin we've been using here. Like, I know how to like talk to people about it now.
Yeah,
It's not just-
that's a great thing too, communicating it.
Yeah.
You go to the next studio. Maybe you're not always going to be with Drew.
yeah.
Or not that you won't, but like maybe you find yourself in a circumstance where he's just not there. But now you can
I can
bridge
talk
that
the
gap.
talk.
Yeah. Shut up those guys.
Yeah. Like, excuse me, put this. Just look at me like. But no, it's definitely making me smarter in it. So I feel like now that's the new phase I'm in with my artistry, and like that's gonna push me in a different level. You know.
Do you want to start making your own beats?
Not really.
No.
I
You
mean-
like it when he does it and you just kind of...
And I kind of add shit to it, or
Yeah.
like now I can add my own drops and like understand how to do that, and like
Yeah.
be like, can we try to do this? Or like I'll show examples, but then be like, all right, can you make it better now though?
Do you give him concepts or ideas? Like, how does your relationship work with making
well,
beats?
before it's kind of evolved. So like before we were doing, he'd start playing something on the guitar, or like on the piano or something, and then I'd be in the background making melodies, and we'd build off of each other.
Vocal melodies?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like he'd get to a point with the beat where it's like still rough as fuck, but he's like, okay, I'm stuck. Can you give me some ideas? So then I'd get on the mic and start laying melodies down, and then he'd take the melody that he liked the most. He's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna take that and then start building around that. So it was very interconnected. And then now it's become a lot more like he'll send me something, and then because he lives in Austin now, he'll send me something, and then I'll start either like with my melodies and stuff, vocally producing that and adding different ideas, adding different instruments, and like and shoot it back to him, you know. So
So your producer lives in Austin.
he just moved to Austin.
You're in LA.
Yeah. So our
And you had someone in Miami?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy like that we can do these things now
I
because of the
know.
internet, and like internet upload and download speeds are so good, and the capacity for holding information is so great, and the compression is so good that we can have professional creative relationships across the country and still be
Yeah.
like really the continuity's there, and like it's
Legit.
it's crazy.
For this project, I think I have production from a guy from Vegas, a production from Texas, production from Chicago, and like now I'm diversifying. And Drew's not even on this next project, so like that's gonna be my first project without him, you know. So it's pushing me a little bit. Like now he's been sending beats and stuff, but like it's just we're kind of growing, and I think he's gonna get a lot from taking a different path, but like learning, you know, and then I'm in a different path and meeting a whole bunch of different people and like learning a lot more. My bag of tricks is getting bigger.
Yeah.
So like now it's cool that we're gonna be able to come to a place and like show each other what we've learned and like take it to another level. So I'm excited.
Do you play any instruments?
I used to play the piano and saxophone, but I kind of stepped away from that. But now that I'm alone, that's one of my goals that I put on my thing. Is like I want to pick the piano back up and like just
yeah.
kind of get back into it and then
And
start.
sax. Pick up the sax.
I know. I
How
told
long
my
did you play that
cousin.
for?
I played that for 5 years,
Oh, you could pick it up. What ages?
from 5th grade to I think freshman year in high school.
Yeah, you can pick that up. That's a good time to learn.
Yeah.
That's gonna you'll be really rusty, but that stuff's embedded in your brain forever
Yeah.
at that age.
Yeah, and we were going at it, you know. So
Yeah. Why'd you stop? Just lost interest?
no, I hate that I stopped because of this. My brother came up to me one day. He's like, you know, I didn't want to be the one to tell you, but like, people who are in band are like big dorks.
Oh no.
He's like, so like, if I were you, I just wouldn't do it anymore. Like,
Are you serious?
Yeah, and
your
then
brother's a jerk. I would slap him
we're
for
really
that,
mean to
like-
each other. And then
that's harsh.
I took that to heart and was like, he's right. I'm
He's
going
so
down the wrong
wrong.
path.
He's so
he was
wrong.
so wrong. I fucking hate that he told me that.
I know. Think about where you'd be now.
I know.
20 years of playing sax, you'd be lit.
would bring that into everything, you know? But it's something I could pick back up.
You can pick it up.
Especially now that I'm living alone. It's like I have so much time on my hands now. I've never lived on my own. So it's like I get in there and I get lost in my own little world.
That's so cool. I've never lived on my own either.
No?
On my own, no.
That was the first time, and it's just like your brain gets so much space and time, and it's like everyone in my building almost does music. I think almost everyone does music. So I hear it bleeding through the walls, and like even when I just want to chill on the couch, which I don't ever do, but if I do, I hear it bleeding, and I'm like, I gotta work on music. Like, what am I doing? So then I get on the computer and start doing shit. But like, I don't know. I'm excited that my environment is like kind of forcing me to want to do music 24/7.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Were you always like that, or is it just more recently?
More recent, because even when me and Drew lived together, like, you know, people are so different, and like me and him are complete opposite. So like, it was trying to figure out each other's schedule to be like, okay, when can I like get in the living room and start working on music? So like, I would stop myself a lot because I didn't want him to not watch TV and shit, you know?
Yeah.
I try to give it a break because I could work on music all day, but he needs his breaks, you know? So that was difficult. So now being able to be in my own space and like not have to walk around anyone. Or if it's 3 a.m. and I feel like working on music, I'm going to put on my speakers and work on
Yeah,
music.
because you're alone.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I'm excited to see where this part of my journey takes me.
Is this the only thing you're doing right now? Music, just full time? Nothing
Well,
else?
I mean, I'll like deliver sometimes to try to like, if
Extra
I'm not
income.
getting licensed or shit like that, I'm like, I need to make money.
Yeah.
And now, especially because I'm going to have my new project, I'm going to start doing that a little bit more and shit. So try to get a budget.
Yeah.
So.
Was it weird to have that leap from like a steady job with probably decent income to just going into the arts with
Yeah.
blind?
It was very fucking, it was fucking scary. But
I knew the answer. I just had to ask it for those listening.
what made it less
How could it not
scary,
be terrifying?
what made it
Duh.
less scary was going back to my parents. But then I was battling with the whole, fuck, I'm moving back to my parents' house. What am
Yeah.
I doing? Especially after not living with them for so long. I was like, kind of like you had
It's
to just
ego.
put your ego to the side.
It's always ego.
It is. But at that time, my old manager used to make fun of me for this all the time. I used to watch a lot of Gary Vee videos, and he hates him. But he would always like laugh at me. But he taught me a lot. Like one of the biggest things for him was he'd have like his. Do you know who Gary Vee is?
Mm-mm.
Oh, he's a very like motivational speaker, but in like a
Okay.
very real way of not like fluffing shit and like just telling you how it is. So I remember he had a speaker, and the guy's like, you know, I'm 40, whatever. I have my family. I have this business idea, and I want to jump. But like I can't because like, and the guy's like, Gary's like, well, why can't you? He's like, well, because my family and all this, like, realistically, I just cannot do it. And like, fuck, what did he say that really stuck in my head? I don't remember.
Gary Vee?
Yeah.
Did he say like,
I forgot. He just put it in perspective of like, you can't because you care what people think. You care that someone's going to be like, oh my God, he can't provide for his family. But you can figure it out. He's like, you can go deliver, but you won't deliver because people are going to be like, oh my God, he delivers and he's 40 and he's trying to like make ends meet for his. He's like, it's all voices of other people.
Yeah.
He's like, if you just follow what you want to do, you know this is your vision, your path, and your wife's on board and whatever, what the fuck does it matter?
yeah.
So it's just like getting real to like, it's your ego, you know?
Yeah.
So
It is.
calling that out and just being real with people, I appreciate that. Because it was for a while for me too. I'm like, and even sometimes I battle with it, but then I get to the point of like, I love what I'm doing. I'm happy as fuck. I'm not sitting behind a desk like miserable as fuck to make $40,000 a year. Like, no.
Yeah.
So now it's just like ego's not even attached to it. It's kind of like I'm doing what I love. So
Yeah.
I'm happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. I
Yeah.
could never sit
You get
behind a
that.
desk.
No.
I gave all traditional lifestyle and work up ages ago.
Yeah.
And I've never looked back. It's insane. It's chaotic. You're juggling, but
Scary.
it's the best.
for sure.
Life's been wild because of the decisions to just follow my dreams and do what I love.
Yeah.
And try something new, something that makes sense to me. No other job has ever made sense, and like what I do and what I've been doing makes so much sense. It's interesting. It sucks though, because you're like, if you want to go to something less traditional, more creative, you are always told like, no.
Mm-hmm.
You were told you can't be a singer.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be an audio engineer, like something with sound design, production, probably since I was a teenager.
Okay.
But I was also really good with like designing stuff, architecture, engineering, building things, carpentry. So my parents were like, you should do that. And they wanted me to be like, my mom was just like, be a carpenter. You're really good at it. And you don't even do it and you're good at it. So imagine if you actually did it, how much better you'd be.
Yeah.
And I believe that because I am. I like to build stuff. I do like using my hands. I like figuring out how to design stuff. But I realized I'd rather be like an architect and some type of. I just like to design stuff and put things together.
Okay.
You know, and I realized that I could just do that with music. And
you love music.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. And I like it I want to do it with movies, do like Foley and sound design and ADR for movies. You know, I always wanted to do that and need to figure out, more people in LA to work with to do that. But that's something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Do scores for films too. I love
That's insane.
scores. Scores add so much to the experience of watching a movie, a TV show. They're so fundamental and captivating the audience emotionally.
For sure. It's triggered by that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So people will have dreams, but when they're told they can't do it, it automatically suppresses this like natural and innate thing for happiness. And then you can do other jobs and be a little happy, but you never fully get there. You never fully see the potential of like what can be happiness.
I see so many unhappy people that I
my
grew
God.
up with.
Every day.
They're still stuck in it. And I'm like, why are you doing that?
And they'll have an excuse, like that one guy, like, but it's like, but what? Especially if you don't have kids, and you're not married, and you don't have a mortgage. I'm like, what is your deal? Just go do it.
It's I was like, I'm never gonna be in a better position. Like, I'm not in a relationship now. I'm not. I hate my job. Like, do it.
Yeah.
You just got to kind of take those opportunities.
You're gonna get some blows, but it's like, it only goes up. Like, you're gonna fail. You're gonna have this opportunity, it just doesn't work. Like, I had those. Like, I had job opportunities after college, and I applied, and they didn't get it, and I thought I would, and I didn't get it, and I reached out to that band, they said yes, and then they couldn't. Like, so many things have fallen through. Put on the music fest, and it gets rained out twice. Like, I put it on next year, or this year would be the 10th one, but it got pushed because of COVID, and now it's only the 9th one coming up. Like, so many things I wanted to have, but I'm still doing it. Like, these roadblocks will happen.
Yeah, you can't get discouraged by that.
You can't. And you can't ignore them. Like, they're going to happen. Nothing
100%.
is going to be good.
No.
And guess what's worse than roadblocks when you're trying to follow your dream? The natural, inherent roadblocks are going to happen when you're not following your dream. They're that much worse.
So it's like, what do you want to deal with? And I think that's where I got to the point. I'm like, I'd rather deal with being happy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, sometimes I feel guilty because I'll be so, like, happy.
Me too. And you don't want to talk about it with people. Because
I sit there silently just like,
you're like, so what'd you do with your day? I'm like, well, I listened to music for the first 2 hours. I smoked. I remember someone asked me, what do you do with your day? And I explained my day to day, and they're like,
explain your day.
Okay, so.
Like, you walk me through your average day, LA, Vanessa.
So.
What time do you wake up?
I wake up early. I wake up like at 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Awesome, me too.
You do?
That's perfect. Best time to wake up.
Because also I've noticed I'm not like chasing time, and then I'm less stressed. And it's just like
you get more sunlight.
You get more sunlight. You just get a more chill day to actually like have your brain settled.
Yes.
So I'll wake up early. I've started, and this came from my neighbor upstairs. He was listening to like some like spa music, like pianos, like vibrational ass shit. And I felt very.
Hold on, I've never heard someone describe vibrational. All right, keep going.
So I'm like, that's kind of nice. And I listened for like an hour, and I realized how chilled out it made me. It was like at 7 in the morning. And I was like, I love this. So what I've been doing is starting off my day with spa music, getting very, very vibrational.
Spa music.
My accent. And so that starts off my day. Then what I try to make it a point is listening 2 songs of an artist. So total 8, but like off different albums. So I'll listen to different genres. So I'll start off with like Nirvana. Right now I'm listening to Pixies. So get 2 songs off of them.
Which record, do you know?
What's Goliath? Is that what it's called? No, not Goliath.
Doolittle?
Doolittle. Yeah, that one. And then I also actually, because I finished that one, I switched to the top 10 songs.
Okay.
Which is basically so many off Doolittle.
Yeah.
And
Surfer Rosa, Where Is My Mind? Gigantic.
God.
You're thinking of Gigantic off of Surfer Rosa.
Yeah.
The cover is that famous like woman that's naked.
It almost looks like an animal though. That's a woman?
Yeah, if you look closely.
Okay. Yeah. Brown.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Pixies, Kid Laroi. I've been listening to that. His latest is it album or EP, whatever you want to call it, like crazy.
You said Nirvana?
Nirvana.
Which Nirvana record?
I listen to Nirvana every single day, at
Really?
least 2 songs, just to get the melodies in my head.
Do you like their first record, Bleach?
Yeah, I do. I've jumped around just because I've gotten to the point where I've been doing this since like 2018, and I'm like over and over. There's no more new music from them, so I've been repeating a lot of shit.
Yeah, In Utero is my favorite record by them.
Oh, are you? Oh, really?
In Utero, yeah. It's the least polished and the most raw, and I think it's the most emotional one from Kurt Cobain.
I do like that, but the other day I was listening to Nevermind, and I'm like, oh, there's so many good songs on this.
It's just so polished.
I
It's
know,
like,
it is
it's
really
like it was
polished.
put through like the car wash with wax on full blast.
you're right.
And you're like, dude, this is for a grunge like punk rock
It's very
band.
polished.
This is ridiculously clean.
And totally against Kurt's.
Yeah,
entire...
you're like, this doesn't make sense.
I know, but it's the melodies on there.
They're good
are
melodies.
So fucking
They're
good.
And Dave Grohl makes awesome melodies. He sings a lot in there.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So those are 2 that I like, different genres going back, and then Kid Laroi, and then I try to either bring modern music, or right now I was going through Taking Back Sunday. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Why Taking Back Sunday?
Just to get those melodies back in my head. Like I feel like Blink-182, Taking Back Sunday, like that era. I listened to a lot of that in high school.
Me too, yeah.
So it's just like familiar, but also it was so genius, like how simple their melodies are, and it's just like easy sing along. So I like to do that, like study those pop punk bands just to kind of get that in my head too.
Yeah.
So that's the studying music that I do for the day, and that goes to like looking at their lyrics, to just kind of sitting there and letting like the melodies run through, or listening to the background vocals. It switches. I'll do that. I'll do daily writing, where I'll sit there and just blank write for 20 minutes. I'll jump around from different songs that I'm working on. I'll make it a point to at least like make progress within 1 or 2 songs. Voice lessons.
Voice lessons. How do you do those?
I have a few lessons on my phone from like when I used to actually go to them, and I'll just like switch around and do those.
Okay.
It's not. I guess it's not even voice lessons. Voice exercises to get my vocal folds like going in a direction. I stopped that for the longest time, and I started that back up like 2 weeks ago. So I'm trying to get back in the routine.
So what time of the day are you at by this point?
By this point, probably like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Because it takes a lot longer than you think.
Oh yeah. And you're doing all this every day.
For the most part, I try to do it every
Is it a
single
Monday
day.
through Friday, or is it just every day?
Every day.
Saturday, Sunday, it doesn't matter.
And if I don't do it, like right now that I'm over here on vacation, I start losing it, because it's like become such a routine.
Yeah.
That when I don't do that, I get the worst anxiety. I'm like the worst person to try to be around. I'm like angsty.
You know what's funny about that?
What?
I've noticed this with people who do like their passion, do what they love. They could do it 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and like it doesn't bother them.
Doesn't get old.
I feel the same way. Like the days I don't do my routine stuff, I feel
off.
I don't like it.
I
don't like sleeping. I don't like leisure days.
No,
I don't like any of it.
And people will be like, Vanessa, that's a problem. You got a real problem on your hands. It's an addiction. I'm like, but I love it.
You know why people need those days? Because for Monday through Friday, for 40, 50, 60, 70 hours, they hate it. They need it.
Yeah.
They actually do need the weekend
That's true.
to decompress.
Yeah.
I'm decompressing all day. I'm
Exactly.
good. I'm doing it right now.
Feeling good.
You know how therapeutic this is?
Great.
Right?
It's not work for me.
We're getting this out.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I sit there with my friends and talk on the phone all the time for hours.
Yeah.
But I'll have my best friend, our phone call with him. We do it every single day.
Nice. From Chicago? Or?
Yeah. But he's almost like my therapist in a way. He was always like, I'm going to hit you with an invoice, bitch.
I know. I have a couple friends like that where I'm just, I start to feel guilty. I'm like, dude, I feel like maybe I should see a therapist, because I feel like I'm overdoing it with how much I share with you.
Legit.
I feel like this is...
It's so crazy.
But you know what? People give it back.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
It's, I don't know. It's a good thing. I think it's really good to have those 1, 2, 3 friends where you're just like so transparent.
Yeah.
Like,
I have 2 or 3 friends that are like that.
Yeah, me too.
Like 3 friends for sure.
So you're in the afternoon now.
So in the afternoon now.
When do you eat? What do you
See,
eat?
that's my problem. When I start getting, like right now that I'm back in my project, is when I like just lose track of eating. Like I'll eat once a day, which is really bad, but I just
Yeah.
get so lost in it that I'm like, and I hate cooking. So I'm like,
I love cooking. I love the
I'm
whole
bad.
process.
Oh no.
Well, you know you like listening to music, just study the music, put music on
That's
when
true.
you do that.
That's true.
Yeah.
But then I find myself not really paying attention and like getting into
And
what I'm
use
doing.
it as like subconscious,
listening.
like learning, like because you're always going to learn if you have something
You're right.
stimulating your senses.
You're right.
and just have it be where you're just hearing it and you're not listening, but it's like still pleasurable and you're getting something out of it.
You're right.
Because cooking, it's its own therapy, and you get so good at it if you just keep doing it, and then you can get faster too. Like if you're like, it just takes time. Like if you do it enough, you can get what felt like an hour to 30 minutes to 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And I've started kind of getting my feet wet with that.
Did you not grow up cooking?
No, my mom was like a huge cook, so she just like
She didn't teach you.
took that on. No, I was also very lazy. I was like, I don't want to do that. I was growing up. I was not interested in anything, like, which is why it's so crazy that like I finally found something I'm giving time to, because I was very much the like, no, I'm not interested. Like sports were the only thing that really almost had my attention, but even then I wasn't like fully committed.
Do you know, looking back, do you know what it is or why?
I think it's just I didn't have any interest in it really. Like even school, I was like, meh.
What were you interested in? There's got to be something.
Sports was my interest, like volleyball. I was really into that. I played soccer. I played softball, swam. So like sports and going out with my friends were my enjoyment. And like I really enjoyed being with my friends. But yeah, now it's like it's changed.
Yeah.
Which I'm not mad about.
Yeah.
Because now I actually have purpose with what I'm doing.
Yeah. And so what do you have for dinner then, if you're eating that one time a day?
I started making this chicken that is actually really good. I throw a whole bunch of seasoning on it. I don't even know what I'm doing. Just smelling shit and like get really high and just throw it. And it always comes out really good. But it's like I had to get chicken breast.
Is it
put it
going
in the
really good or are
oven.
you just really high?
It could be that, one or the other. Either way, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then I'll like pair it with like some rice or like if I got vegetables and shit. So that's been my go-to. It used to be like frozen meals all the time.
Oh boy.
Where Andrew was always like, Vanessa, you cannot be eating like this. And Spencer, the guy that used to do like all my audio engineering, like recording engineering, same thing. He would get on me about my eating. So that made me a little more conscious about it. So now that I'm living on my own, because I was eating Lunchables, chips, like I'm just a snacker, which is probably why I'm not ever really hungry for a meal.
Yeah.
But yeah, the chicken's been my go-to lately, or pasta, or a sandwich. I don't know when you started following my Instagram, but for a while I was putting my sandwiches up there because I put chips in it.
I saw some of that, yeah.
And they're so bad, they're shitty sandwiches, but I love them because, I don't know, I think it's just nostalgic for me.
Do you think with your eating that because you only eat once a day, like it might not be the healthiest food, but because it's once a day, you have like you still like can maintain like not gaining weight, you know?
For sure. Because I think also when I first moved to LA, I had the craziest anxiety, just like going off of the breakup and shit and like moving to a new place.
Yeah.
That was like eating my body itself. But I stopped going to the gym just because I was so in music and I didn't want to really step away from it. That my eating once a day and not going to the gym all year didn't affect me at all. And I was like, damn, I was eating like burgers, like In-N-Out at least a few times, but I didn't even
The restaurant In-N-Out.
Yeah. But I didn't gain weight. And I think that's just from that.
Just the once a day.
Yeah.
I've noticed that with people who will eat like once a day, they won't get any bigger, but it's because they're not eating a lot. They're just eating the once a day. It's not like the healthiest thing, but it's not a lot of food.
No, yeah.
You know?
Well, I did notice I'm so weak now. I have the daintiest wrists.
You do any type of exercise?
I started going to the gym again. So
Nice.
what I'm slowly easing myself in with is like the Stairmaster. It's so
Nice.
mindless and easy. And I'll try to do the dumbbells for like 5 minutes, but I'm so like, okay, I'm gonna go. So I'll do them really quick and then leave. But it's so bad how weak I am now that I'm like, I need to make it a priority to like at least go lift.
Yeah, you need some restriction.
It's getting bad.
Yeah. It takes effort, but once you get in the swing of it, it just comes right back. And
For sure.
that like athletic part of you starts to be reignited. You know,
Yeah.
you grew up playing sports, it just bounces right back. Because
Yeah.
when you do athletic stuff, you're working out all the time. And
Yeah, it's
yeah,
true.
it just comes back and becomes second nature again. But it's getting
hope
into
so.
it so hard.
I know, because really, sports were the only way it would get me into it. Because I wasn't thinking about what I'm working out. It was
Yeah.
just fun. But like now, I'm like,
Maybe you need to start playing some sports.
yeah, right. Find a dodgeball team.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Exactly.
Where do you live at in LA? Like what neighborhood? I
like
don't know.
Echo
the
Park.
neighborhoods. I don't know.
It's like 5 minutes from like downtown.
Oh, really? I heard downtown's lame.
It is. It's weird. I told you it's demonic
Demonic.
feeling. Yeah, it's weird feeling.
A lot of homeless people, I've heard.
There are a lot of homeless people, and there's a lot. I feel bad because it's crazy how bad their problem is over there. Feel bad for those people, and a lot of them you could tell are using. So like it just takes them to another level where you're seeing even crazier shit than you would normally see from homeless people that are just living on the streets. But
I mean, I've never met a homeless person or know of one that wasn't suffering from a mental illness or physical ailment or drugs, alcohol, which is a mental illness.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know any. And
You're right.
most I see there's something going on there. And because I think about it, like, how could a human being get to the point where they're just absolutely on their own and no one in their life is there for them?
Yeah.
Like,
You're right. Something had to.
terrible stuff happened.
For sure.
Mentally, drugs, alcohol, like, to be completely ostracized by friends and family.
Yeah.
It must have been years of you causing mayhem or damage, and they had to give up.
That's sad.
You know, that or you ran off because you gave up on yourself. Something like that.
True.
It is sad. I never know what to do.
You know
about
what
that.
though? It's so weird because I'll see some homeless people in LA living in tents and stuff that look completely fine, and I'm like, I wonder if they're just choosing to do that.
See, that LA's different. I'm used to the Chicago ones.
Yeah, you're right. Where it's like
If you're homeless
you're
in Chicago,
pushed to
you're
that
not
point.
choosing to sleep under 994 on Fullerton
No.
in January.
No,
You're not doing
gonna
that for
choose-
fun.
Exactly.
And you're not some kid that's like, yeah, I want to see what it's like to suffer. It's like,
No.
no, because you will die.
You're pushed.
Yeah, whereas where it's warmer weather and it's more like, hey, man.
Yeah, like some of these things look
People are-
nice. I'm like,
yeah, they're doing it on
damn.
purpose just to
Yeah.
save money or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
for real.
But it's so dangerous.
It is. Because I even saw a family living in one, and I was like, oh, shit. But they look like an immigrant family. So I'm like, I'm wondering if they're doing that to start off.
Man.
And then maybe make the transition into collecting money to get an apartment or something.
Yeah,
I'm sure people do that.
it's sad.
Yeah. Struggles. Makes me realize, damn, you really haven't struggled, bitch.
Yeah. Struggles are relevant, and they are relevant to yourself, but, I mean, you have struggled.
Yeah.
You know, you're
Just not on that level.
not on
where
that
I'm
level,
like,
but it's
I'm
always,
grateful.
there's a million levels. You
Yeah.
can go further. Let's go to a third world country.
Yeah.
Let's
right.
go to a country where women have zero rights.
Yeah.
Where if you're, gay, if you're homosexual, they'll kill you.
Yeah.
You know, like it keep going. You
For
know,
sure.
There's a lot of problems in America, but we have a lot of good things, and
I
you
agree.
can be those things and be okay, and nothing will happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of progress still to be made.
For sure. A lot.
A lot.
But small steps, hopefully.
Yeah.
Keep going. I don't know.
How's
Hear
life?
why I have to stop smoking? It's like stuck in there.
That's the weed. I love how you kept putting that pen up and it keeps falling down.
I know.
And you keep trying.
It's like the dramatics for the podcast. Boom.
What is the most fulfilling show you've ever performed?
I was thinking about my favorite show the other day. It was in New York for SoundCloud. It was like this boxing ring at the top, and the bottom was like super like stone walls, like one of those grungy things.
Where was it at?
What was this boxing place? It was some boxing
What
in
borough
New York.
was it in?
I want to say Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, and it was just such a grungy feel, and
Yeah.
it just felt like my vibe. And I remember
Yeah.
going through the downstairs, the basement, and like up to the front of the stage and shit. It was awesome.
That sounds cool.
It was a really cool, and it was like red hue lighting. It was,
Have you performed there often?
no, that was my first time performing there. It was for like some SoundCloud event.
Have you done it since?
Not at that place.
No. I mean, like in New
Oh.
York.
I had 2 performances in New York that time because we were doing like a few meetings and shit, and then had 2 shows. I forgot where the other show was at. Where the fuck was that? I don't know the name of the place, but it was not as memorable as the SoundCloud one.
Yeah.
The second runner-up to that, I would say, is I got invited to some. Do you know the porn awards, like AVN awards?
I've heard of him, yeah.
So I don't know how we got linked up with the guy that gets like the talent for them, but he's like, "Would you like to perform?" I'm like,
Performed
in
at
Vegas.
the porn awards?
It was in one of their private events.
Oh
Lil
my-
Wayne performed after me, right after me.
Are you serious?
I shared a stage with Lil Wayne.
That's pretty cool.
It was cool. It
That's
was,
a wild experience.
It was
you
so
shared a
much
stage
fun.
with Lil Wayne in Vegas at the porn awards.
yes.
That's probably not what you thought when you quit your job.
It
26.
happened right after I quit my job
Really?
too. I'm like, this ain't too bad.
How'd you get the gig?
We booked out a studio for like this acoustic, I don't know, we were just filming something. We booked out this guy's studio, and he was listening, and he's the guy that happened to be the talent booker for AVN, and it's his place, and he's like listening to the song over and over, and then he finally comes up to us. He's like, hey, I do this. I really fuck with your sound. He's like, would you do a performance? I'll pay you. I'll fly you out. And then he flew me and like 3 people on my team.
That's so cool.
And then we spent a few days there and partied with them and shit.
It sounds like a wild experience.
Yeah, but I don't know why the SoundCloud one still. I think because I was at a different point in my career, I felt more established that I was like, okay, I'm getting into myself now.
Yeah.
At the AVN Awards, I was still figuring it out, and like it was still new to me. So it was
that's a really bizarre experience going right into music.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's really rare.
Rare.
That's
as
awesome.
Fuck. It was cool.
That's cool. Good for you.
It was a fun time.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to a show in Brooklyn once. I went there, and I've been there twice. And when I went in 2010, it was this show by the water. I think it was right by the Brooklyn Bridge, right by the Hudson River. Nice. And it was an outside event, and we were watching this band play called No Age. And then it started pouring rain, and they moved the event to this other venue. And we went, but it was filled out, and then we couldn't go, and we were stuck in the rain. And then I just went around Brooklyn and like went to a record store, got some pizza.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I like Brooklyn a lot. It's very cool.
It has a cool vibe, right?
It's really cool. Yeah, I liked it. I've only been twice, and I enjoyed it both times a lot.
Yeah,
it's different.
I like New York.
It's crazy how big Brooklyn is. Like,
yeah,
or all of them are really, but like the fact that the population's the same size as Chicago, and Chicago is its own city is wild. How big that area is.
That's why I look at Chicago. I'm like, it's really tiny. No shit, I knew everyone. No shit, I had to stop.
Know everyone.
I had to stop going out because I was like, I'm gonna run into someone that like I'm not on good terms with.
Oh,
and
no.
like I stopped going out.
Yeah.
Right before I moved, I was like, yeah, I gotta get the fuck out.
How much of that you think was in your head though?
Well, Boys Town is really tiny. So running
is that where you lived?
No, I would just go out there a lot.
Well,
so
it's
like
you got to pick different neighborhoods.
But that was like where me and my gay guy friends would go because like that's what I was hanging out with.
I feel you, yeah.
So like running into an ex and shit was very common, and I hated that. Like,
really?
Yeah, hated it.
Jesus, how many exes you got? You're running into them. Every time I go out, I run into an ex.
I don't know.
It's like you're 27 years old at that time. Why are you running into exes?
Yeah, no. Well, they're friends too, and it's like, well, I saw Vanessa. What was she doing? Was she being like? What was she just talking to anyone? And it's like hearing that from.
Oh, no, that sounds very dramatic. Sounds high school.
Yeah, you know.
Who are you hanging out with?
Fuck out.
I don't vibe like that.
No, I know. I had to get out. And now I'm definitely not around that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, my friend was trying to get me to go out to Boys Town yesterday. Before that, I was like, first of all, I have to, like, my voice has to be somewhat on point tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm like drinking. I know I'm just going to be hoarse as fuck. So I didn't do that. And then plus, I'm also going out in Boys Town. Like, I'm just over going out.
Yeah.
So the thought of that, I was like, no, I'm good.
I'm over going out, like, for the sake of, like, oh, we're going out to, like, bar hop and stuff. I never was into
fun.
that.
So I went to the lake, and I walked by the lake.
It's
and
way better. And you were, like,
time.
Okay for today.
Yeah, I woke up at 5 a.m. today. Like,
really?
Yeah.
What'd you do this morning?
Well, I had to drive my mom because I needed her car.
Oh.
So, but then that kept me up.
I woke up, I meditated for 3 hours.
But then I did get back. I did a voice lesson. I just listened to my vibrational shit, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Then I started getting ready and showered and came here.
That's cool. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
we've been talking for a while.
I told you I could talk.
You feeling good?
Just gotta pull my string. Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel really good. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling. It's just been such a weird life, weird summer, and
yeah,
I don't know.
Sure.
Just like meeting different people, meeting someone like yourself, different backgrounds. It's cool because it's inspirational. It gives me a good experience. Not a lot of people throw themselves into these circumstances, and just like, I never met you before.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know you.
Strangers. Hello.
Thanks for
coming. You know a lot about me now.
That's why I like it, because I learned so much about people. Like, think about when you meet someone, and they're like an acquaintance. How many minutes have you really spoke with them?
Not many at all.
right? Even
Which
if you,
is-
for years you could know them, and you just
Yeah.
say like 5 minutes at a party, or hey, how you doing? Oh yeah, like oh you're dating so like it's an
It's
ends and ends.
superficial as shit.
Like-
or like one level.
We'll probably have spent like 4 hours
Wow.
together,
Yeah.
and maybe 4.5 hours, and like that's probably more time than years of being an acquaintance with somebody
That's true.
in just one day.
Look at that.
From the session, and you get to know someone a lot when you work with them,
Yeah.
and you see them in a vulnerable state. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just you performing for me. Like nobody else is around.
Yeah.
And it's just me trying to capture that properly for you. It's a very interesting dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
And I just think about all those things and how fortunate I feel to like be in the position to like do those things.
Yeah.
To like just reach out to some random person in LA and they just go, yeah, I'll come through.
Yeah. I mean, shit.
It's interesting.
It's a fun life, I'm sure. You learn a lot.
Yeah, you learn a lot. Meeting people it's one of my most favorite things to do. I
Yeah.
just love humans and the differences between us, the similarities. That you realize there's a lot more similarities than most people would say. It's like you just want to be happy. You want
Yeah.
to be loved. You want to have fun. You don't want to get hurt.
Yep.
You don't want danger. You don't want to see people around you suffer.
Yeah.
People who do, they got issues. They're sadistic, but
Yeah.
most people don't. And it's even people who are hurt and like kind of are angry or have issues or abuse people, they still want the same thing. They want to be loved, and they were probably just messed with too.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing that.
For sure. Hurt.
Yeah.
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 It's crazy. What are these?
That's my mugs. That's me. That's the stickers.
I love that.
I know. I need to get more of these made so I can start giving them to guests. But
These are dope.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're good props.
Do you drink? You make coffee at home? Or you just go to Starbucks?
Usually make coffee at home, and it's really shitty coffee. It's like the instant coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's like grind it up, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just more, I think, like the act of doing it.
Have you ever gotten into like making better coffee, like
No.
pour overs and stuff, and grinders and scale, like what I have? That's why I offered. I was like, you'd love my coffee.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've never got into that.
I'm obsessed. It's a problem.
Hey, you found something.
Do you want to plug anything or promote anything while we're here?
Just follow my socials, interact with me, talk to me, ask me questions. I have my project that I'm working on right now. I don't want to give the title away yet.
Oh yeah. Don't.
I love the title though. It's so dope. It's so weird how like it all came full circle with like even from like where I'm living at, and I'll tell you off air, from where I'm living at and like what I look at every single day to like I already had this title in my head, and it's like I'm looking at, like I'm just staring at it now, and I'm like, that's so weird. And it's just like every single day I think about it. But I'm working on a project right now, and I'm gonna be releasing that within this year. So make sure you stay active with me on SoundCloud.com/Ness Heads or Instagram just at Ness Heads. But keep up with me, and I promise this project's gonna be dope.
That's awesome.
It's a nice little balance from like freak show and pull me up to what I just did with Ghost on Labeo. I'm finding the balance of it now.
Yeah.
And like what I learned from both things and how I want the vision to come out.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Any shows or anything you want to promote?
My first show is probably going to be in Winston House in Venice, but I don't have a date for that yet.
Okay.
It'll be in LA though.
Okay, that's cool. And people
gonna
check you out in LA. That's where you're based right now.
Yeah, I'm based in LA right now.
And you're on Spotify. You're on all
Yeah.
listening platforms. SoundCloud's a big thing for you, though.
Yeah, because Tidal and SoundCloud really I hate that I keep swearing, but they really fuck with me and I fuck with them.
You can say it if you want. Again, I don't have sponsors. It's all good.
I just swear too much. But because of that and like that mutual, I don't know, just showing support, I like them. So
Yeah.
I try to promote them more in their platforms because they've treated me well.
Yeah,
So.
Spotify doesn't treat artists very well.
No, I saw something the CEO just said recently, and I was like,
What do you say?
he said, they asked him a question in a panel, like, are you going to take care of the problem of how low you're offering streams for artists, And he's like, what Spotify was originally built for was to get rid of the piracy problem, of like people stealing people's art. We wanted to provide a platform where you get credit for it and you find it in one hub. It was never to pay artists. So we are going to continue doing what we're doing. And I was like, that guy doesn't give a fuck.
No.
Especially because it's like you see how much artists they're the reason you're successful in making money.
Yeah, you're making money off their
like,
work.
show appreciation for that. So that attitude just really rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm like, if I'm seeing places like Tidal where I'm getting a face to a name, I'm seeing the team, I'm seeing who's curating these playlists, or if I'm going to SoundCloud and like they're welcoming me with open arms, they're inviting me to shows, like, fuck yeah, I'm fucking with you guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Vanessa or Ness.
Ness.
Where does Ness Heads come from?
So originally I was going by Nessa K. It was my name. Actually, it's transitioned a few times, but Nessa K was the last one, and it was so hard to find that I realized like my team is more. It's more my team too. You know, that are like adding. Like I had people that help me write, and like Drew helps a lot with the production. At the time, Eddie and my brother Hector were like really involved with management and like taking their role. So figured we're all heads to Ness. And then also in terms of like marketing for future, I felt like a little cult feeling of like sneakerheads, Ness Heads.
Yeah.
And I want to eventually cut it off to just Ness.
Okay.
But
that's cool.
We'll see when I graduate to that level.
I'm sure it'll happen soon. Maybe it'll be at the next award show you perform at.
There we go.
And hopefully that's the Grammys.
Yes. Let's speak it.
I can't wait to say it. I'm like, I talked to her once.
For 4 hours. She wouldn't leave. I couldn't unpull her string.
Real high and would not leave.
She thought we were on that 70s show.
Well, Ness Heads, it was really nice to meet you.
It was really good to meet you.
Your session was great.
Thank
Can't
you.
wait to work on that and show the world. This podcast was great. I learned a lot. Thank you for your honesty and sharing your stories.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This was a very great interview.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was
Thank
casual. It was chill. Usually I get nervous, and today was like the most chill I've walked into something.
That's great.
So thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for being